these memories as sea touch the sky. Pictures tell stories. Hello, goodbye. As we watch from a distance, we will laugh and we'll cry. Through pride and disappointment, we'll never deny. This is home, this is home, this is home. This land and its people is the place we call home. This is home, this is home, this is home. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home. Yeah. Changing scenes, changing time. Eyes face the future, glancing behind. And pride set in frames, images inspired to live and to breathe the dreams we desire. This is home, this is home, this is home. This land and its people is the place we call home. This is home, this is home, this is home. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home. This is 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 home. As we watch from a distance, we laugh, we cry. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home.
Still give me a little tear.
Wow.
Blue.
Yo,
Still give
man.
me a little tear.
Every
Still give me a
time,
little
every time, every time.
How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Hey everybody, how we doing? How we doing? Welcome to another episode of The Living Room. As usual, it's me, Andre, and my good friends Philip and Mark, and we just love to have Caribbean conversations. Today, we having a Barbados conversations, because as you know, we're on the eve of Barbados' 55th independence, but it's also an even bigger occasion because it's the day that we also going to become a republic and remove the Queen as our head of state. So welcome. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff that we always ask people to do on social media, and hit share, tag 10 friends, bring them into the conversation. We can just have a little fun this afternoon as we reminisce, look back. Hey, Padmore, how we doing? Anyway, gents, how we doing?
Yeah, man. I still here. Just reminiscing on This Is Home.
Reminiscing. If you don't know, by the way, that song was written by Phil.
Yes.
And that is Phil and myself singing on that one.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful. Fantastic.
yeah.
I remember that moment. It was sorry, I don't remember what we were discussing. We were just talking about pictures and looking at pictures and that sort of stuff. And I remember that coming to mind.
Indeed.
I remember us being up very, very late that night, actually.
That too.
You mean to get out the song?
Yeah.
Because we recorded it in my garage. Recorded in my garage. And then we had to just get this song out. All the pictures that you saw there are Bajans living in all of other parts of the world as well. UK, Canada, France, all over the place. Bajans there. So all the photos of people there are Bajans that you saw.
Fabulous, man. Fabulous.
Yeah, good song. I like the outfit there. So Phil, a little bit of sailorish, little bit of
it's almost formal, but not quite.
Yeah. I will it. Hey, Michelle.
Casual but still respectful.
Yeah, no, I
That's
get
sort
you.
of. That's
You
sort
see,
of.
I even dress up for the
I
occasion.
see.
Was that
Man,
waistcoat and short sleeve?
This is Republic. Republic time, man.
Hey, Michael Lansman's part me singing second verse, but y'all doubting this voice, you know. Y'all doubting this voice. How many times I gotta sing for y'all to know that this voice is proper? Anyway.
He trusts on cold water there.
I don't understand.
I think you just joke with you, man.
You know. I don't understand. If I hum hey. Man, as if I hum
Second whistle.
You know.
I like it.
Yeah. So what are you men getting up to? What are you guys getting up to?
Well, trying to stay warm.
Man, it's freezing, yeah.
I cannot believe when I saw snow. Y'all had snow as well?
Enough. We had
You know I in London. We ain't got nothing down here.
Yeah. Y'all just got pollution.
Yeah. too much pollution down here for the snow to come down.
So I just said, don't bother.
Nah, don't bother to go inside the M25.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
no
man.
surprised at that. But it does transform the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
There's this real silence that snowfall creates.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's fairly cold out here at the moment. And I mean, it can be more contrasting. I was watching the Thanksgiving service today and seeing some shots from home and thinking, man, oh, my being there now.
You understand? I watched the stuff yesterday as well.
Yeah.
And the opening of the park as well. I was like, I
yeah.
should be home, man. What
Nah,
are you doing
yeah.
here?
Exactly.
You understand?
This cold, man. But, you know.
Hey,
yes,
Teresa.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is
But yeah,
what it
beyond the
is.
call, it seems to be going all right. Things sticking along, you know. Looking forward to the week ahead more than anything else.
Banana leaves out the freezer.
You got yours out yet?
I still got.
Or you don't buy yours yet?
No, I
got-
had some from last year.
And them still good, man. They ain't gonna be soggy, man.
They're gonna be okay. It's just for steaming.
Nah. I getting some tomorrow actually. So tomorrow I'm gonna get some, and I can sort out because
You
I'm
sure
getting
you can get
questions.
them?
I get questions. I wasn't planning to this year, you know, but you know how it
So
is. It's make the best conkeys in England. Everybody always ask you. Yeah, we making conkeys.
Hear the man, Phil. Hear the man.
Okay.
You got a trumpet there? You got a trumpet there behind you there?
My trumpet upstairs.
I just must say how loud he can blow his.
Man, I got WhatsApp messages. Andre, you making conkeys this year?
Man, you lie, man.
listen,
What
man,
go
I
on
ain't
your
tapping
message
you
you with no
for conkeys?
conkeys, man? You know what conkeys were?
Seriously.
Listen, of course. When a man when I doubt this thing though, Michael don't make a sing. When a man doubt him, make conky.
But
What's
listen,
going on?
No, we know
Yes,
you
so
can
Michael-
make conkeys, but it's just we don't.
When I doubt that the
No,
textable.
there's that level of demand. We don't there's that level of demand.
Yeah.
But people in London texting me for
Man, I got text. I get a text, but if I'm making conkeys this year, so I had to try the towel and say, listen, all right, man. Hey, satisfy the masses. With the conkeys, you know.
So you can hold some for when we come down.
No, you see now, it all depends now, because the behavior that I get in here now says,
shoot.
none for winner. Right?
Or seeing as how you're that in demand now, you post, you know. I would
All
imagine
gone. By the time we come down, all gone. I'm gonna keep one and live in the parcel it out. You know, everybody get a little corner, little squares, get a little taste, drink a little something, eat it slow, kind of stuff. But y'all
these
doubting
is-
my skills.
These are Bajans in London that asking you for conkeys. Or
Of
these
course,
Okay, just checking, B.
text
Bajans.
WhatsApp messages. Dre, you doing conkeys this year? Why ain't telling your lies?
Carol.
Well, she got text me. We live in his house.
XX.
Yeah, XX.
Listen.
shoot.
The conkeys coming.
right.
I
Listen.
can make some. I wasn't gonna bother this year. Like, nah.
So
But
what was the
lot of work.
hesitation this year, man? What was the
I
hesitation? What
ain't
happened?
know, man. I ain't know. You know it is. I ain't sure. I was just like, so much work, so much. But I holler for, you know what? I can do that, man. So
worth it.
tomorrow I can go and get some banana leaves. I will FedEx. So you never know, Angela. If you behave in the chat too, I might FedEx couple there now for you too.
Hey,
if you
hey.
behave.
You got your pumpkin already?
You think, well, I gotta go and get everything now. So I at the market now, my fella there now, and go and get pumpkin and all kind of thing I gotta sort out now. So I will try sort out tomorrow.
There's always be a risk.
And I would do the
remember
thing.
One Independence Day, driving all around Manchester for about 2 hours to find banana leaves.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you find them?
I did in the end, yeah.
Man,
We had to
Chinese
go right
supermarket,
to the
man.
city. Yeah, well, I went to all the Chinese supermarkets in Manchester. And then the last one I got to was actually a Thai supermarket.
Oh, Thai. Oh, okay. I can head down to Siwu tomorrow, and I can pick up a pack. And then they come and sort out, and got some. I will send y'all a picture. And
We hear you, man.
I'll send y'all a picture.
Look at Michael there. Look, he said he just used butternut squash instead of pumpkin. He just put his foot in it there.
Yes, buddy. Yes, I.
That is not a conky.
That is still a conky.
Michael, is monkey
sorry.
color? Is conky color? Conky color. You might get it coloring.
Michael, I
sorry.
am with you.
It is
I
not.
am with you.
I
am with you. They are the same family.
You see,
They are the
Michael,
same
the
family.
one give me trouble there just now until now. Even that's why you just gotta keep quiet. Eventually, everybody's talking.
They are the
Even
same
the-
family. Butternut squash and pumpkin, same family. But with a butternut squash, you get a better flavor.
Now look, that's like
A
eating
better
Jacob's-
flavor?
A Jacob's
sugar.
cracker is set tastes like a soda Bix. It is not the same. It's just not the same. Come on, man.
Listen, from next season, there will just be 2 people hosting this show. Each man talking about butternut squash give you a better flavor than pumpkin.
Okay.
Proper pumpkin.
It
Never
is
heard
a
of it.
better flavor.
Man, nonsense.
It is.
This man talking, man.
And that's our food from home too. We grow butternut squash in Barbados too.
I never seen.
I ain't say we don't grow it. I ain't say we don't grow it.
Use the land food.
That is really and truly last resort. If you decide to match conkeys at 11:59 and 58 seconds on the 29th of November, and all you got is butternut squash there to make it to independent, you allow butternut squash then.
Michael
But once
used
you
all my
come,
words. Michael used all my words. Sweeter and
Hey.
smoother.
Michael, come off.
Listen.
of it, man.
listen,
It's good.
sweeter and smoother in a
There's difference.
stew.
If the man, if the
But
man
we
had
ain't
come
making stew, nor soup. The recipe is the recipe, and it
Man, do
don't
something
say
do something
butternut
over the conky and it
squash.
run away.
in, pumpkin is you, the man.
No,
every
take Michael
single
off
day
the
of
screen.
life.
Take Michael off the screen.
Smoothie,
Michael,
man.
you standing comment. They like comments there with Michael.
If the man has said he used apple instead of coconut, we have a problem. We have a real fundamental
But
issue.
he ain't far from there now.
That's
But
not
that-
far.
next thing
They're
you
the
can tell me
same
now.
They're the same family. You're
Yeah.
telling me that if I serve you up a piece of pumpkin and a piece of butternut squash with butter, you can tell the difference?
I ain't
All-
interested
and all-
in difference. I'm making conky B. I ain't eating anything just so by itself. And I tell you, I give you the parameters under which you are allowed to use butternut squash. And I go, okay. Right? And that's 29th of November at 11:59
Don't
and
have
30
anything else.
seconds to go. And you want to get in the set before Independence hit. Use your butternut squash.
And all
on
you
your
got
fridge.
is your butternut squash. From the
Use
fridge.
when you fridge. Use when you fridge. You allow that. Anytime before that, no.
I think as a republic, we allowed
What Mark drinking? What you drinking, Mark?
decisions.
Hey, you bringing it into that already? We going to be on there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's butternut squash.
Butternut squash, man. Get
Well,
rid
see,
of that
listen,
imperial
See this
pumpkin
how,
talk.
right? See this, how my man there saying eat butternut squash will replace his pumpkin.
Yeah.
This is sorrow cousin.
Met with a beetroot. Man, no.
Well, he made it with what?
He got Vilmore. And he talking about all
Vinto,
of
man.
it.
Sorrow
Vinto,
cousin.
Vinto.
Not even sorrow.
That ain't even a cousin. That ain't even a cousin.
Not even sorrow
Butternut
next door
squash,
neighbor.
pal. What's wrong with this, man? Come on.
That is not
Same
even
colour.
sorrow next door neighbor.
Now you see? Now everybody can sit. They say everybody can take liberties here, so no. Everybody can take liberties. As you
freedom
come
there,
with that
man.
now.
We
Freedom there.
free.
Okay. Vinto instead of sorrel now, right? Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it red.
That is all right.
Step cousin.
Step cousin. I don't even think it's step, Didi. I don't even think it's a step.
Fair enough.
Sorry, the poor relative. I agree. No, we'll see. But I can make some conkeys and get the proper
So
thing
what
and
else?
do
What
what I
else you
do.
just met for independence, man? You're just a
No, I
specialist,
usually
or-
just a conky specialist, do some fish skates. My daughter like a lot of fish skates, so I used to do a lot of fish skates and that kind of stuff, you know. So I used in the
So these-
evening, I
what-
make
what-
sure we do.
Just what you putting you fish gates? Just checking. You know, cause seeing this whole.
Wait, you
I
think it's
just
playing,
asking. I don't
playing
know.
lamb?
Well,
That would feel like Michael can tell me now, lamb, the texture of lamb good.
You just haven't tried it.
The edge fat just give the fish cake a good texture. That's what.
very true.
That's,
Not fish essence.
well, this is where you gotta ask the question. know?
I agree. You have to make sure you ask them questions. Make sure you get it right. No,
So-
man, I can do some fish cakes. I can do some conkeys and that kind of stuff. You know,
Okay.
that is me. That's me. And then of course, so you notice no Christmas tree on there. So yet no Christmas.
we don't need
nothing.
it.
Wait, was that I see behind you there, Carmen? What, I see a
That's
little.
Mr. Harden.
I ain't seen a look saying Christmassy there, man. What's
No,
going on?
That is.
Oh, what
Mr.
is that?
Harden. Mr. Harden, man.
That's the Hardy.
Yeah,
Oh, them is
of
oh, you burn it.
Yeah. I
This
burn
my
that
man
Harden.
gone full of attention.
Burn it.
All right.
Mr. Harden.
I just,
Wow.
I
Hey,
just
Monica.
had to bring something. You know.
All right.
No, Christmas here until
Oh, of
Independence,
course.
man.
So
Come on.
December 1, I out, get the tree, and then I up in full Christmas mode. But
Yeah,
not
yeah,
until then. I see some people across the internet putting up Christmas tree and thing this week. And like,
Wrong winner.
oh, who? Calm down, man. You got enough time for Christmas, man. Calm down. We don't do that. You know, that's one tradition that's hold fast. Ain't Christmas stuff until
Shame on
1st
you,
of
DD.
December.
Shame on you.
Even listening. Don't even listen to the songs. Nothing.
I remember one year years ago, and I probably ain't so now, but years ago, I remember Keith Shepherd made the mistake of putting up Christmas stuff in their window sometime in
Early.
in early November. Man,
just went mad, yeah.
crying. The people went mad, man. I can
can't do
remember
that.
that.
Look, you can't
You
do
remember that? I remember that.
yeah.
And the next day they changed everything and put Christmas color light, they put
down.
Bajan lights and that kind of stuff. I remember that. Everybody's like, these men blasphemous here, man. What ignorance you doing? That's a long time ago, yeah, but I can remember that. I don't know if they ever made that mistake since, or maybe things more relaxed for them. People would tell me if they're a bit more relaxed these days, you know. So look, guys in the Caribbean, I know we always have some Trinidadians and some St. Lucians and Vincentians, and obviously we know Barbados independence is next week, Tuesday, becoming a republic as well. So today, as 3 Bajans, we having Bajan talk. So welcome to be part of that conversation, because part of that conversation too is the impact of Barbados becoming a republic on the rest of the region also. So that's a conversation
Absolutely.
to be had as well that we
Absolutely.
can have. Man, yeah. So we got a couple people in, and we might have some more passing through as well. We have our good friend Carla and Kathy.
Yes.
Kathy as well. I know certain people there, so now in the comments can be going, wait. How them get there? Don't worry about it. Behave yourself in the chat. I'm calling the name. Behave yourself in the chat, and you might get here too. So look, let me bring in Carla and Kathy, and we can just have a good old chat as we go down the road here today.
I going straight for it as soon as Carla come in here, man. I going
Ladies.
In fact, let me be polite. Good evening.
Good, of course.
Good evening.
Good.
Everybody good?
Yes, we are.
That's a prop
Fantastic.
behind you, or that's
Man,
the
man,
working
wait,
that singer.
Wait, Philip,
sorry,
wait,
okay.
wait.
Wait. What's wrong with you? Just wait. Both of you ladies are well? Keeping well?
Yes, thank you. How about you guys?
We doing good. We doing good.
We
I
might be a
hear
little
it's cold
confused
out
in
there.
places. Yeah, man. Enough snow. A lot of ice on the ground now, you know.
Slippery.
Time to slip away to Barbados for a couple of weeks, really, to be honest.
F only.
Yep. Carla, let me ask you a question. Butternut squash or pumpkin?
I've never tried butternut squash.
Yeah, listen.
so
Wait.
I'm not too sure.
You never tried
I
it
don't
because
make it.
why? Why
I don't
you
even
never?
know what I eat, so maybe I don't know what people put in it. But my
You the-
dad actually got some pumpkin today for sure.
For
Love
sure.
the pumpkin.
Kathy
Lovely,
want
lovely.
jumping. Kathy want jumping.
You mean butternut squash in general, or you mean butternut squash
Conkeys.
in
Conkeys.
conkeys?
Conkeys.
It
No.
go-
Blasphemy.
Rest case.
Bonfire
Rest
fun
case.
back.
Bun,
Bun-
all kind of fire. But he don't there with Mr. Harding.
That's
But he
not-
there.
That is not a conky. I don't know what it is, but it is not a conky.
I think you guys have to try it.
Thank you very much.
I don't mind
Thank-
trying it, but it's still not a conky.
It is something else. Call it something else. I agree with that.
Maybe
Settled.
an okie. But I'm gonna ask: is this you're only putting in butternut squash, or is butternut squash and pumpkin as well?
Oh, you wonder if you long in it out. If you wonder if you
Stretch
ain't got enough pump, you trying to help you out, Carla. I let you.
No,
He'll
I'm
help you out.
curious.
I would vary it. Sometimes I would just use exclusively butternut squash, but often I would mix the two together. And it's just because sometimes pumpkin can leave you with this sort of sorry, sad. And you got to put in too much cornmeal.
Hey, you want violet?
Is you or is
That is why
I
people
mean, is it
texting
pumpkin or
me
is you?
and not he.
It's not. It's not. It's not
Maybe
me.
it's the
It's
quality
just.
of pumpkin you're getting.
Well,
Yeah,
Lord.
Maybe
I think
that's
that could be it. That could be it. Yeah.
It's
We're-
true.
Or maybe
I don't
he just
get-
don't know how to do the pumpkin. Could be.
I don't
have
get the
nothing to
firmness
say.
up here.
Andre,
I don't get the firmness. I don't get the firm, proper pumpkin up here. So I find
Okay.
butternut squash returns me back to paradise,
Aye,
Alright.
aye,
and I
aye.
find myself. at
All
home.
right.
Well, look,
Okay.
I think we settled that one, man. Pumpkin is the winner, hands down.
but you
No
know what they
questions
say,
asked.
right? You know what you're talking about Bajanisms?
Mhm.
Wait, ain't got a horse?
Right, cow.
Ride the cow.
Right.
But you
Oh,
know it's a
Ain't got
cow
the
you're
regular
riding though.
pumpkin?
You don't call the cow a horse.
well,
Well, a train, a train.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Every effort was made there, Phil.
Yeah.
They tried to help you
Wow.
out there, Phil.
I
That is
think
all
we
right.
could have a taste. It's really in the tasting. We could have a taste. Put a traditional, let's call it traditional imperial pumpkin conky next to a modern contemporary
Maybe we should do that, you know.
free
Maybe we should
free
do a cook-off.
butternut squash,
Well,
futuristic,
then, how are you, man? Good afternoon.
innovative conky.
There is nothing
And let's see which
imperial about a conky. Don't even
I don't
go
understand where you're going.
trying
Is
to
there
make
not?
conkies in English and telling us about
is
imperial.
there not?
Behave.
Is there not?
No,
We,
no.
we should probably look at the history of the conky and how it's come to be.
So now the man gonna
No,
come
let
here
us
on
go
the
there
eve of
now.
independence and tell me that conkeys get imposed on me. You might-
Now this is how you know.
Lord
you know
They weren't
mercy.
imposed, but the conky.
and then the fight started.
you understand?
There's a beauty of the conky. The conky is actually, from my understanding, is actually this marriage of four cultures, right? So
Limited
if you go to Ghana, if
Oh,
you
well,
go to
Lord.
Ghana, you'll
Oof.
find something called kenki, which is not our
Okay.
conky, but it is the same sort of process of taking a sour corn meal and wrapping it in banana leaf and steaming it, and it looks the same, but it doesn't taste the same because it's not with sugar.
That's
Now you
right.
come across the Atlantic, and the British
Man
have
trying
this
hard.
idea-
Man going all back to history now.
let him carry on. Let him
and
Yeah,
the
carry
British
carry
have
on.
this idea of steam pudding, right? So there's that idea of using fruit and so on in your steam pudding, which is where that comes from. We were a sugar producing country, so we add sugar to the concept of kenki from the ancestors in Ghana. However, we also couldn't get the type of meal that we would get in Ghana.
It's gone quiet.
But we were
You understand?
in
Everybody there just saying, like,
Caribbean.
what?
Hey,
And what were the Amerindians and the Arawaks and the Caribs using? They were using
So it's very kinky.
they were using cornmeal. So conky is actually
We must still
Kinky.
a mixture. Is a mixture of those four cultures.
That's fine.
You know, the-
we with you.
Ghana, the Amerindians, the British. That's part of our DNA. That's part of our
Fine.
culture.
We with you.
And the enslaved people who
Good.
grew up and became part of the.
How we
And
get down
use
here?
pumpkin. That's all it can come to. After all of that.
That's all you
After
get for that.
all of that.
My man, that's all you get for that. Really? Really?
Philip is,
But
is
you try to
Philip is
explain. You think?
How we get down,
I
how we
think
get
he's
down
trying
here?
to write
Lord
his
have
name on
mercy.
history's page.
He's
Yeah,
trying.
yeah, clearly.
He's
we
trying.
can have to nominate him for one of
Yeah.
these awards.
Yes.
Oh, we should though. Actually,
Well,
we should.
And Michael, the two of them can have a show on their own.
I agree.
I absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Michael,
Can you imagine?
I contact you.
I don't know if the world, if you know,
Eddie,
that
we're
much
ready for that.
could like rip a hole in the space-time continuum.
Kathy, you're pretty dicey. But anyhow,
You understand?
I'm warning you. I
Listen.
warned you.
how you finding the independent season anyway? How has it been going so far, man?
It's been tough because of the restrictions. You know, COVID is very much with us, so you don't want to be a total idiot and go and mess around and do foolishness.
No.
You know, I had one of my relatives who's 101 years old
Oh
wow.
to spend some time in isolation at
Whoa.
one of the facilities. She's fine now, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, this thing is not something to mess with. On the other hand, it has catapulted people into using the technology. The NCF has been producing some incredible concerts. The productions are amazing. You know, as a creative myself, it really brings joy to my heart to see the talent in Barbados being brought out and showcased and shared with the world at last. You know, we have so much talent right here in these little 166 square miles.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, right? But when I'm in the car and I hear the open air riff to the Nicholas Branker band with their Christmas stuff, let me tell you, I crank in that volume.
Yes.
Hey, with you?
You was very impressed with our rendition there at the top of the show too, I would hope.
Yes! Oh, gentlemen, much respect.
I just want to make sure these fellas get a little credit, you know.
Yes. Listen, I want the link to that when you're all finished, please.
Oh,
It
man.
is there, man. We could pass that link to you. Not a problem
Please,
at all.
please,
Powered
please.
powered by butternut squash.
You had to go
Man,
and
just
spoil it.
man, spoil it,
You
man.
had to go and spoil it.
Sorry,
Yes,
okay.
you know.
Spoil it.
Come on,
Scratch that. Scratch that.
They can't take some people. What is it called? People say they can't take some people anywhere.
You know what I mean? We can edit that out. Don't worry, we can edit that out. Yeah, I've been seeing some of those concerts, man. It's been great to watch. Great to watch.
I saw one with Gabby and Mike Seeley. That was incredible. If you get a chance to watch that, it's just Gabby, Mike Seeley on guitar doing all sorts of stuff.
Gabby can sing the alphabet.
I know.
You understand? Gabby is one of these people that.
Ooh.
Oops, Kathy, your microphone has gone a little bit funny there, Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might want to just refresh it and come back in, perhaps, just to make
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I saw you nodding your head a lot there, Carla.
I did get in a few shows, but I don't know much about riffs, etc. So I kept myself quiet. But I must say the shows are really of a high quality. But in general, the NCF has always produced on time and extremely good quality shows. So I always enjoy anything that they have, and I do have a few to catch up to. But I was paying attention, so I did get a few shows this week as well.
Before we go any further, Carla, you have an entire history lesson.
You itching to ask about them there, man. Hello.
Yeah, is that you got an entire history lesson?
You understand?
Actually, on Friday, on Friday, I was actually looking at the history of the conky. I didn't see the
You find
British
anything
part
with
of
butternut
putting in fruit, because the fruit is
Okay.
really a modern thing. But you know, to push in the imperialism, I give you an E for effort. But I didn't see
Purely
that. I know
anecdotal.
about
Purely
the
anecdotal.
indigenous people using the cornmeal, and I know of course about the different. I thought you were going to look at the the Mexican food or maybe what they use in
Yeah,
Trinidad.
the
where they
tamales
put the
and
Man, why you
pimi
get
and so
carry
on.
up there
but
for
I
now?
don't know why you would tell us
Why
about
you get
putting in
carry up
fruit.
there for now?
Sugar, yes,
Yeah,
but not the fruit. The fruit is
Jeez.
modern. I don't
Is it?
think you could ask anybody over a certain age if they ever had a conky with raisins in it, and they tell you yes. Because
Listen,
Okay.
I don't
this
think that was done.
Carla's
That's
starting fighting already
I
with
don't
this
know what
raising
you
a
got here
conky
there.
thing.
I would do
But
this.
you see what I
Don't-
have.
Oh,
Don't
shoot.
start.
I can keep quiet. I can
Listen,
keep quiet. I can keep quiet.
listen. Tell me about that stick. That's Europe cuckoo stick.
Actually, this one
Cause I
it
know they got a lot
is,
of
but
pores
I
this
don't
boat,
use
you know.
this.
I know they got a lot of pores. You could cook a good cuckoo.
No, I could. Yes, actually, I'm gonna try to do some. I'm gonna make some.
Try.
On,
She said try.
try.
do what?
What
You ever do
happens? I
what?
don't have the
Where do
okras
you
as
live?
yet, so I'm
Where
not
do you
sure if
live,
I'm gonna get
Carla?
that done.
Right.
She living
Where
with
do you
that.
live?
I live in
Where do you live,
Brazil.
Carla?
You live in
Brazil.
Brazil?
Okay.
Okay.
You can
But
drop me a
actually, I
pin.
have a bigger steak for the jug.
Oh,
But I didn't take
I
that. out.
definitely coming by you.
Okay.
Jug is another thing we could discuss.
you know,
I
Phil,
think
you ain't got the
it's-
okra yet. I'm sure Phil would tell you you could use green
I can
peppers.
find okras for you. man.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe if he said spinach leaves or something like
Some,
that.
I sure
or
Phil
callaloo,
insists.
but no.
Something like that. Phil will tell you could use. That's good. But how are you? Before we get to the history lesson of some of the stuff behind you there, how are you enjoying the season of independence and what's to come in general?
I am enjoying the NCF shows. However, I'm not really feeling it the way I should. Like, this is my sister's setup. I do have a little flag and I have my own thing. My niece has the similar setup as well. But and we've done a little bit in the house. We've changed out curtains to try to feel it. However, they're not going out. Not really. It's hard to be Bajan home.
Yeah, we ain't stand home people.
No.
Right.
Not
so,
this time of year.
No.
We did go over to the botanical gardens so we could see people flying their kites and they're playing in their own little groups. So you get a feeling of it and you get to say, yeah, I remember 100 years ago, people were working here real hard and I can lie now and rest myself. So in that bit of indulgence, I can enjoy it and know that this is our country and no one will shoot us. Because I remember hearing a story about that particular piece of land, and the guy was kind of aggressive if you went into his space. So for me to be there and to relax, it's a bit like, yes, I'm a Barbadian and this is ours. I
Yes, it's
like
mine.
that idea. However, the excitement of the whole crop over, I go to NIFCA every year and not being there, not watching the children. I mean, even rehearsals because I always know somebody in something, so we're always at some rehearsal. So we see the little background of it. So my sister is dancing. We didn't even get to see a little background of it because it's like you come and you alone.
Just
and
you
it's-
alone.
Yeah, everything is just. It seems, and it's not so much only about the pandemic because you have to be careful.
Yeah.
But some people that will usually be out there in the forefront are very hesitant as well. So even if someone would have had a little something, they're not too sure if they should have it. And then you're doing like we had some limes online. So we would call up some friends and you just chit and chat. But it's not this. It's interesting. It's a bit like this.
Yeah.
Without the butternut squash, but.
Shots fired.
But
It's like a recurring
good.
theme, man.
So we had a few fun games and yeah.
Wow.
But it's not the same. And most likely on Independence Day we may do something. So we may tell our friends, set up with props or something, wear something interesting. What are you eating today? What's the strongest drink you have in your
Answer that one for me. What's the strongest
I'm only
drink
at I didn't win. It's 66%, I think, something there. Yeah. And I was beaten.
My head blown off just thinking about that already.
I will probably
That's
fall
something,
asleep
it's
smelling
a
the
liquor.
car.
It's just a little sip you take. It's not rum. Like you
Okay.
drink a belly full. But
I-
I say
She lost
talking
her
up,
That is something-
talking up yourself, Carla. A belly full of rum.
I don't have any rum, so I don't know how much people drink. But yeah, but that's it. It's just like
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. And as great as the shows are, and they are great to watch, and it's good. There's still a little bit that you tend to miss
You
in
miss
helping with
people
that feeling, you
in
know.
person.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the
Interaction,
in-person
people,
stuff is- yeah.
just the buzz of people going around, the kids in the clothes, the songs, the the children making their flies
Yeah.
and out of the toys and making
Yeah.
toys out of the flies and stuff like that. You just miss it, you know. So
Yeah.
it's interesting the way how the absence of that impacts the way how you relate to or engage in a
Yep.
time as important as independence, you know.
And you find the same as well, Kathy, with you and your family and your core group of friends really
Oh,
trying to battle
definitely.
with these restrictions.
Listen, I am here in serious withdrawal. This is my Barbados rugby jersey I'm wearing.
I see.
Aye.
Oh,
Okay. And the rugby community in Barbados is like this giant extended family. And usually there'll be some sort of action on a Saturday at the garrison. That's the match. There'll be practice during the week and stuff. And it feels so weird. Right? I mean, it's just not there.
Wow.
We're not allowed to practice. We're not allowed to do contact sports and stuff. So it just feels, I'm like, you ever put your shoes on the wrong foot and then you're like, wait, something wrong.
Yeah.
It's just something off,
so
and I think that is multiplied in other areas as well because obviously mostly schools are online. So there's not even the interaction with the juniors. It's really,
right.
It's very low key.
it's
Very, very low
it's
key.
restricted. Yeah, I mean, online is great, blah blah blah, but there's a interpersonal and interaction. Like I go walking on the boardwalk, like I aim for 5 days a week,
Oh wow.
and when I run into, well, I'm not taking a chance on the gym, quite honestly. And the boardwalk is like my form of therapy because I go down
Boardwalk
early
is
in the
sweet,
morning.
man.
But listen, you gotta be down there when the sun is rising. It is
Oh, wow.
unbelievable. But I run into, and I run into some friends of mine I haven't seen in ages, and we have to remember, okay, no, I can't hug. We can do the elbow bump or the toe tap or something. But it's just so weird. It's like the excitement is there, but it's one step removed, if you know what I mean. Does that make any sense?
it does.
Yeah.
So with rugby, do y'all play? 'Cause I've seen some people here playing non-contact rugby. Y'all do that
Well,
as well?
this is touch. Yeah, this is what we're
Touch-
trying to
touch
do.
rugby, yeah.
Yes, because like when the kids are starting out, there's a get into rugby program, and what we do is you don't really want like 5, 6, 7-year-olds tackling.
No,
That's just
you do
asking
not
for
want that.
disaster.
Yes, I could imagine.
So when they're starting at whatever age, even if you're an adult, you don't just go into tackle. So you can do touch or what we call flag tag rugby. You wear a belt with these 4 Velcro tags, and if you get close enough to snatch a tag, that's considered a tackle.
Yeah.
So there's very strict rules about safety in that. But right now we're not allowed to do anything. Nothing.
Oh,
Zip. Zero. So I am campaigning. I'm hoping that the COVID monitoring unit is listening. I'm hoping
Yeah, the voice gone up there.
that they will give us permission to practice, even if it's a small group, and to do touch, not full tackle. I get that,
Yeah.
but just to be able to get out, throw the ball around, just even the socializing, even if it's
the
distance.
social aspect. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The Garrison is a big place. Come on, and it's the historic location
Oh yeah.
of the actual independence ceremony.
Indeed.
We've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was little, so I only remember walking around my house, my grandparents' house, and singing the Merry Men, God Bless Bim on Independence Day. Exactly. And my mother and her friends told me stories about how it poured with rain, and that she said she ended up taking off her shoes or something because of the mud. I mean, and the Garrison, when it rains like that, it turns into a swamp.
Yeah, it does.
So I can only imagine what that was like.
Wow.
But we've all seen the photos, the Dipper with his hand in the air, so triumphant and happy.
Oh yes.
Those things, like those are iconic things.
Yeah.
Like I don't, the having the broken trident. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
looking
you know,
forward to the next step now for republic status. Let me see what that's going to bring.
well,
Yeah.
we'll come to that in a minute. But if you go back to the pre-COVID days, we are very proud people as Bajans. What is it that you love most about Barbados as you think about this 55th year of independence? What do you love most, Carla?
I don't really know before 1966, so I just love everything. I just love being Bajan. I just
I said before
um
COVID.
oh, before COVID, even with COVID. Listen, even with COVID, we special,
It's
Um
true.
before just the idea of the whole NIFCA. I really look forward to NIFCA. I like crop over time, but then I stopped going to a lot of events. But and the idea of the culture and the fact that we can enjoy our culture. Um, I remember hearing my grandmother say, "Don't play banjo music on
On
Sunday,"
Sunday.
Ooh, ooh,
and
ooh.
I mean, even before she died, people dancing on stage. She'd be like, "Oh, look at them," and it was something. But even when I watch, I'm like, you know what? We were stopped for so many years, hundreds of years from expressing ourselves. And yes, some people may take it to the extreme, but how we are actually preserving something that's not really
Yeah,
easy to do. And I
yeah.
wonder sometimes why we don't like what we do. And people belly dance, and people do what do they do in Hawaii? And I don't know if they have the same issue with women dancing in those countries, but it seems like we always have issues with our people looking
Yeah.
like us dancing. I see the Indians can have some moves as well that can be very rapid, but somehow we seem
Rapid, I like
they
that
seem to
phrase.
have issues when we move in whatever ways we move. And I just wonder why is that. So I'm glad when we can celebrate who we are and the fact that we're independent.
Wow.
That concept, as I said, because I don't know anything else, I don't know before, only from what we would have read, but the idea of knowing what we can achieve.
Yeah.
And I make this point all the time. We take it for granted, our healthcare system. We take a lot of things for granted.
We do.
And
Yeah.
yes, you may
It's
go to
true.
the whatever and sit long, but you can sit long at your doctor too. You can go to a hospital in another
And
country and
pay.
sit
You
for
you
just
want
as much
you want
time.
you want to come out here and try going to the
No,
doctor?
no,
Oh
no,
my
because
goodness.
that's exactly what I was
Six
Oh
saying.
my
weeks, boy.
word, man.
We've had
6
issues
weeks.
exactly where you have to
Boy.
make an appointment and you're waiting for 2 weeks. You're back killing. Really, we really do have some systems here that are good systems, and I think I like the idea of being here. And there's something else I really like the idea of that the average person can somehow take a holiday and they can go anywhere in the world. You will see somebody in France. They're like, "Hey, you from
Yeah.
Barbados?" And I mean, when I say anybody, the janitor, and not talking down people. I mean,
No,
there's
I
a
know what you
certain
mean.
type of
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
industry
Yes.
that people
Yes.
have. They will
Yeah.
make extra conkeys. They will make sales. They're going to make clothes. They're going to
You know it.
sell something. They're going to do something. And if they say they're going to France, they're going to
This is
France.
it.
If they say they're going to Japan, regardless of their station, they will go. And the good
Yes.
thing is that we feel we can go.
We
But this is
can.
The
it. I was
Korean
just gonna
stuff
say
here.
because we had Ralph Gonzalez on our show, and one of the things that he says that always stuck with me when we ask him about Caribbean people, and he's always said, "Listen, we ain't better for Caribbean people. We ain't better than nobody, but nobody ain't better than we." And I find that that's as Bajans, I think we take that. I think we embody that actually. And like you say, it doesn't matter what station. We don't think that there's anything out there that
Yeah.
not for us.
It's true.
This is for us. Japan, I don't care what I do. I could get to Japan irrespective of what I do as a job.
Yeah.
It's accessible. Not only that, but I'm gonna do whatever it takes to go experience what I want to experience. And
Yeah,
there's
man.
nothing that can stop me or nobody that can stop me. So I 100% agree with you that.
Yeah.
Kathy, you wanted to jump in there just now?
Yep. You're going on mute, Kathy.
I am there. Go ahead.
Okay, this will probably ruffle a few feathers and
Ruffle
cause
them.
Man,
some
we need
pearl
living room.
clutching.
It's just us.
I'm good at that. It's real simple. the mental chains are harder to break than the metal chains.
Wow.
So, as enslaved people, we were taught to hate ourselves. We weren't people, we were livestock or something. Okay. And I think that still, there's a lot of history, there's a legacy in our
Yeah.
mindset about that.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that um, trigger warning?
No, go
Why
ahead,
is
man.
it
Don't
that the
censor
light
yourself.
skin? Why is it the light skin people get treated better than the darker skinned ones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why is it? What's the difference? Same person.
It's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
but those mental chains, we've been, our enslaved ancestors were taught to hate ourselves, to hate our skins, to hate our kinky hair. I never forget. I got mixed up here. I got about four different hair textures on my head,
I used to do.
right? Well, you gone aerodynamic on us. Anyhow,
Everything. Everything.
I can use
anyhow,
that
so check it
phrase. I can
out.
use that phrase. I like that.
Yes, aerodynamic. Anyhow, so I'm sitting at the hairdresser now, and this I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady next to me, I was getting my hair cut. I was going just chop it short.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady next to me says, "You gonna cut off all that good hair?" Well, my hairdresser knew me well, so she put her hands on my shoulders to keep me in the chair. Because things were gonna get ugly. And I calmed down enough to say to the lady very sweetly, all the hair that God makes is good hair. Right? Because we got this thing that the kinky hair, the coarse texture hair is bad hair, and that you got to straighten your hair, and the
No.
only straight hair and all this. I mean, I'm sorry, that's a bugbear for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That is so
Yeah.
so
Right? I
very
got in
true.
my family, I got the whole rainbow. My
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother was a very light skinned woman from St. Lucia, and her nickname in the family was the Backer Johnny because she had this wonderful nose and this wavy hair. Excuse me. If she had that hair today, somebody would be chasing her to get it for weave. She
Mm.
had the perfectly wavy hair. My grandfather, on the other hand, was a tall, very black man.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it mix up. We mix up, mix up, mix up. I
We
love
are.
it. I love it. I had a friend from where was she from? Korea? Can't remember. Somewhere on the far side of the world, Hong Kong. And she's sipping her tea and she says, "I don't know how white people manage. They never know what color hair and eyes their children are going to have."
Okay.
Wow.
I near, as the Belgians say, I near died. I mean, we should be embracing our diversity.
Yeah.
And just when you see someone and they have beautiful skin, regardless of the color, the
But
hair, regardless of the texture, but that is those mental chains. We got to work hard on getting rid of them. And I
I,
think
I
def- I
agree.
definitely agree with you.
It's true.
move to Republican status is a very big step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Go,
And
Phil.
there's it.
And
Yeah.
it is slavery. It is slavery. Look, excuse me. If you, I don't know anybody watched Django Unchained, that
Yeah.
movie.
I did.
It's not for the faint-hearted,
No.
No.
but it drove home some very powerful truths about what slavery, enslavement, whatever you choose to call it, did to black people. And it's not pretty. And that legacy is still with us to this day. We got to
Yeah, and it's
fight
take a
that
long
real
time. You gotta
hard.
be real intentional about it. Phil, you were gonna add something there?
Yeah, I was just going to add to what Kathy was saying about those mental chains, because to be honest, and this could be argued as well, we're not really under oppression, right? But I think we are in right now in the age of what I call impression, and this doesn't mean that we're carrying around a perception that people treat us differently. But I think the weight that we have on us is about the impression and the imagery and the existing structures and the way that things are reinforced about what is good, what's authority, what is power, what is beauty. you know, this is the age that we're in, and it's really difficult to deal with that because everyone is going to have a different response. Everyone is going to have a different ruffling by
Mm-hmm.
things represented and by experiences that they have. So the fact that you don't have consistent stories from everyone saying, "Yeah, I felt dehumanized by that situation," and somebody else said, "Really, I was fine with it." But what we have to identify is
Mhm.
where is the opportunity for us to use something like now being a republic to rethink what's the imagery that we want to put out there, what's the standard that we want to set for upholding beauty, for celebration, for defining what power and authority could look like, you know. And I think that's what we need to be focusing on in this season.
What self-image do we have of ourselves? To
It's
quote
a,
someone
it's a,
very, very wise.
The
Okay?
self-image we have of ourselves, yeah.
Yes. What do when we look in the mirror, as it were, to paraphrase Dipper, what do we see?
yeah.
When I was I studied in Canada, and I was job hunting after graduation. And this is going back to the dinosaur days before email and all this fun stuff. So I have my job interview, and I've spoken to the person on the phone. And when this black woman walked into the room, I could see the shock on the faces. They did not expect a black woman. Apparently, I sounded Irish on the phone.
Mm,
Okay. Now, granted, this is cheapers. Do I really want to tell y'all how old I am?
Yeah,
Many
go ahead.
decades ago.
okay.
But you know, it's still there, and we need to, as you said, Philip, we need to learn to express our discomfort, to
Yeah.
call out the racism, to call out the prejudice, to say no, I'm not comfortable with that.
Hmm.
Do you understand what you've just said? I mean, I'm not saying to go and get all violent and um, uh, the,
Unless you need to.
I've learned to I've learned to avoid the angry black woman trope. So that's
Okay.
another thing, right? I mean, and I'm speaking my experiences. Um, when a black man or woman does something, they get one response. A white
Hmm.
person does this exact same thing, and they get a free pass.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay, right? And so we need to really re-examine ourselves in the diaspora and see
Yeah,
what is it we need to do. Because as someone said in the comments, you can find a Bajan everywhere.
you can. It's true.
I went to Manhattan. I'm in downtown Manhattan. I not
Hmm.
only run into a Bajan, I run into a Bajan that I know.
Yeah.
And when you look back over the course of that journey, Carla, that we've just been talking about there, I want to kind of go back to these relics that you have behind you there, because there's a lot of history that we can't forget, even as we look ahead to where we are going. I see you got a lamp behind there, which is kind of peculiar. And I say it's peculiar because there was a time when you would find one of them in every Bajan home,
Mm.
you know, and just seeing that is a real image of where we have come to as a people.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how many you would see in people's houses now. I mean, I don't know. I suspect you will still see them in some, but it's one of those images that just says something about who we are as a people.
So
Tell,
maybe
tell me,
shed
tell me, tell me what the story of the one you have there.
maybe shed some light.
Well, this belonged to my grandmother,
I know.
and I can say it's really
Home sweet
heavy.
home.
It isn't really on display. It's actually on the top of a cupboard. We're going to
Mhm.
change those up so that you can actually see it all the time. You can see it
Mhm.
all the time right now, but it will get really dusty.
Still
So
works.
my sister just, I don't know. We don't ever, no. I'm afraid to light anything. So
Really?
I am very modern. I actually have lights that I charge and I
Oh
can
Lord.
touch them and turn them on. So I don't think I want those.
So
No,
you
I
never
don't
went
like
to the
candles
gas
or
station
anything like that.
And buy
Yeah,
some
some
No.
kerosene to put in the
kerosene.
I
lamp on
can
the house.
actually smell the kerosene on it still, so it was used.
It was used.
But no, we don't use it. I don't even think it has in a wick. We don't
Wow.
use them.
Oh yeah, you got it.
But it has a modern. This is modern because that looks a little too light. But that's hers. And then we have the sewing machine, and she actually has one. This was from her really good friend, but we actually have the desk one, and of course, Gran would have used that to make clothes for her children. And she was fairly
With the foot
fashionable.
pedal and
So
everything.
You foot pedal at the
yes,
bottom.
and I can
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
use both. I was
Oh.
taught.
Go on.
All
Go
right.
on.
There you
Right.
go. There you go.
So actually, I was taught on this one. My uncle taught me because my grandmother cannot teach anybody anything other than jug jug. But
We gotta come back to that.
she can teach you to cook,
So
but she
they-
she didn't teach me this.
Were those kept deliberately in that you understood the historical nature and value, cultural value, to keep them, or they just happened to survive?
We would be roaches. Well, I'm not gonna. I understand the historical value of them, and so we will keep them. We will not get rid
Yeah.
of them. And it's
No,
not
that's
so
good.
much that they take up a bit of space and they don't look modern, but that's not the issue. The issue is that there's a story to be told.
Absolutely.
Gran used that. She used it for her children to make their clothes. It's
Yeah.
going to stay there. I think there was another mortar and pestle. This one is new. I don't know this one. I don't even know where the other one is, but I know I use the other one. We will use that for ginger, use it for garlic.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her pounding seasoning in that because she
Pounding
didn't like to
seasoning.
have it on her
Yeah.
fingers. So that one, this one, we only use for breadcrumbs. So
Okay.
we were actually showing my niece how to use it the other day.
Careful with the
that's why
lamp.
that's
Careful with the
there.
lamp.
And that cuckoo, that's not close. And this cuckoo steak, we don't use that one. The
Okay.
really good ones are in the somewhere.
Being used that you use. No, I think it's good that you kept them and that you intend to keep them as well, because
Yeah.
one of the things that we don't necessarily do too well is hold on to history and,
It's so
and,
true.
and understand the value of it. We tend to we move from the wood house to the wall house, then we throw away the cabinet,
Everything.
we throw away everything that was in there, and we move in. And
Yeah.
we can go and buy something new without understanding it. And sometimes when you go to other cultures, like here in the UK, just keep everything for generations and generations and generations, because they're all telling a story, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that you have them.
I am seeing some questions about the iron. I
got an iron
don't
too?
know. No, I am not too sure where that went. That may have been gone. I remember seeing it when I was a child, like a teenager, but I'm not too sure where that went. And I remember when I was really young, my great aunt, she had the heater with the thing that may be at the home still. I don't think they would throw away something like that, but I think they still have those. Maybe one of these days I'll look for them and see if I can get and just get them back. But I have a picture of people using them, but I don't have one. And the juking board, you can buy those still. So
Yeah.
People that still use jerking boards, so
some people do actually. You know how
I
to
don't
use
know.
one
I
of those?
know. If
You
I know
guys-
how to use one,
Yeah, I just checking.
I've
Yes,
seen
yes.
one being used.
I know how
I
to use one.
assume I can use one. But
I was taught to use one, so I should be able to use it. But
Where
it's
were
easier
you?
for people who have small hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think. No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was gonna say. I think just going back to the whole understanding who we are and the impressions that we have of ourselves. I just thinking back to growing up. I can remember Punka. Punka was one of the few people who would talk raw Bajan on television and don't care. But I also remember the comments about Punka as well, of look at this Harrison College boy talking like he never went to school kind of thing, you know? And it's, again, that comes back to us, the impression we have of ourselves and what is ours, and understanding the value of it. And I gotta admit, the value of the, not the accent, but the dialect as another language really hit home when I left home
yeah,
and went to university. And you hear all the different languages from all over the world, and nobody was trying to change the accent or talk properly. They talk what they talk and they speak how they speak. And then understanding that in many countries they have so many different dialects. You know, in Nigeria you could have 300-400 different dialects, and nobody trying to change anything, the way how they speak or anything like that. And that's when the value really hit me, and that's why I taught such raw Bajan even now. You know, and mommy listening, she might say, "Boy, I sent you to school," but I think she understand. I think she understand me now, and I taught raw Bajan. My daughters understand it. People at work that ask me sometimes, we always know when your wife call you though, because you start to talk, and you keep saying it's English. You sure? I'm like, yeah, it is. It's just, it's my language.
A lot of our dialect has its roots in Irish or Scottish languages and dialect. Let me tell you a joke. When I was at school in Toronto, what was then Ontario College of Art, I would be listening to Paul Keen's Douglas. Right? Love him. Had the pleasure of meeting him. Wonderful gentleman. And I had to stop the tape and translate for my Canadian friends because they just could not understand what he was saying.
And that's a good thing.
Listen,
nothing wrong with that.
There are dialects to every language. And sometimes look at them and says, "What did you just say?" Even Spanish. I was taught beautiful Castilian Spanish.
Yeah.
So several years ago now, I was given the opportunity to manage the boys under 19 rugby team for Barbados, going to the regional tournament in Mexico City.
Different thing altogether.
Here's the thing, right? You talk about Bajan, you talk about culture. So we land in Mexico City airport. The policemen have long guns. I'm not a gun person, but these these long things that like. So I'm telling the boys, I said, listen, it's me, the two coaches, I'm the manager, and 22 teenage boys, aged between I think 14 or 15 up to 19. I said, no, don't do no crap. These people don't play. Don't do no foolishness. So we get up to the immigration. We've been in transit the whole day. Everyone's tired. Immigration officer looks at me. Barbados, ¿dónde está? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Inspiration. I said, Barbados, sí, la isla de Rihanna. Ping, light bulb. Ah, Rihanna, sí, vámonos.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
But he understood. He immediately placed us in Barbados. Then Rihanna, yes. And I have to shout out my Spanish teachers from school days. Within about 36 hours, the Spanish had come back.
Oh, nice.
I could understand. It was a different. Certain phrases were
different dialect in Mexico than in Spain.
Exactly. Okay, so but the language was still in the old head.
That's good. I wish I could say the same.
I promise I should. You'd be surprised. Immersion will do that to you.
Yeah, it's the best way to learn a language.
Yeah,
that's right. I'm sure if I went to Quebec now, after about 24 hours, the French would come back.
Your French.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, looking back at the relics and looking back at the journey is so important. But the one thing that this particular independence has attached or hooked to it is this is an independence with a difference. So forget COVID, because we know that that's causing its own problems, but that's not the issue, I don't think, partly. This is an independence with a difference because it now has hooked to it the arrival or the birth of the Republic. I wonder how you're both feeling. I come to you, Carla, in terms of how you're feeling about the transition and what you're hearing and what you've read so far.
I am feeling a thing. I'm not feeling it.
Okay.
I am not feeling it.
You're not feeling it?
Somehow,
explain feeling it, because feeling it can convey a number of different things. Feeling,
that's true. I was getting into that.
Mm-hmm.
So some thoughts came to me. I actually got up this morning and some thoughts came to me and I jotted them down. I'm going to pray see that, of course. It feels as if it's being done to me, not
Right.
for me, and I have no way of becoming engaged. And I wrote actually, we're expected to be firm craftsmen of our fate, and I feel as if they've taken the tools as if I'm a child and I can't play with them. I do not feel we've had enough dialogue. I do not think, yes, this has been on the table, but it has been on some old table long ago. I heard about it as a child. I'm now an adult. No one asked me what I want of Barbados. However, what is more important is that our children who should be involved and engaged just hear about it on the fly. And so what really bothers me is that they're always an afterthought thing that they do. Oh, let them write some essay, let them write some whatever, and the date is always in November. You really want to hear what our children have to say if you're going to read something that they produced for the 20th of November? You really are not engaging them. Apart from that, there's nothing at all that has been produced, that has been sent, that has been given to guide teachers in even educating children as to what they're doing. So someone who's not a historian, who does not know, who does not want to because they're teaching other things, who does not have the access at this thing. Well, when I say access, everybody has the same basic access because you can get online, you can look. But why should we be suffered this indignity with no information to feed? We should all be saying the same thing to the children. This is what it is. This is how we're going about it. And this is why. In simple layman terms, it is all right to say you're giving me something. And I think it all right, but I know why. What I know about the whole Republican thing is that it irks me every time I have to say to students that the Queen is the head of and they look at me and they say, why?
Why?
Yes.
We wouldn't move out. We would not move out. Because my analogy now is always, sometimes people get married and they live by the mother. What that is it? I don't know how to explain it because the children can't understand how you would become independent, but still somebody in charge. So I explain, you will live by your mother, but your mother will
like
let
that
you
analogy.
do certain things,
good.
but still
That's a good
you
one.
will let her know you're doing certain things. Right.
Yeah.
That is how we are. So if we become a republic, now we could do we own things, boy. We say, I mean, really, I should not be teaching children that way.
Yeah.
But that's the way they understand it. But because you have not given us a chance to engage, apart from that, this bothered me so much this morning.
Wow.
People got to go to to see the unfurling of the flag and they whatever. You are saying to me, and I actually got the quote from yesterday, what the Prime Minister said, because I didn't want to misquote anybody, so I have it here. And I know good what she said, but I'm going to paraphrase it to suit me.
That's three goods.
She
Go ahead.
was
Good.
saying, yes,
No, when you hear that
good.
one coming, when you hear that,
Once you say good, that's facts.
Yeah.
I have it here, and I understand what she's saying, that whatever is happening should not stop us. However, you have disengaged the children. They can now not say, I went and see when this happened.
Wow.
Independence Day in 1966, children went. Some people
Yeah.
chose to stay home because it was raining, but they chose to stay home. No, we can't go.
yeah.
We're watching it on TV. That being there, that looking to see what the Governor General had on and looking at the man that fell in the water and to look at the person that had a big hat. And that is gone. It's whatever CBC.
There's so much.
CBC will show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's whatever it's taken from those children. They don't have it. So I'm wondering now, 55 years from now, what kind of conversation will we have about being republic?
Yeah.
Because this group of people will not feel what we are supposed to be feeling, but what we should have been feeling, and we didn't.
And it's important, that emotion and that connection, because that is what really helps with the buy-in or not. Because Tuesday will come and go, and there will be a certain emotional attachment that people will
Yes.
have or not.
and they're not.
to the event.
They're
Well,
not.
some might and some might not. It all depends on where people are coming from and what their views are about how the process has been
Some
handled.
will. Some
Yeah.
will.
What,
Some will.
Well, most of the young people I know are going to be on YouTube or doing TikToks. That's the
Yeah.
reality of some of the young people. You know?
Well,
So
that reality, I think, would also happen even if they had the opportunity to go live, because when
so
you see
true, but
children,
parents will take some people. No, some of their parents will take them. And you also have the all of the students who will be cadets, the girl guides,
yeah,
brownies, blossoms,
yeah,
all of them are home. I
yeah,
know, I
So,
tell you, I go to these places. There are thousands of children who are engaged. They're
but one
only
can
using the
argue though
adults
that
this year.
it's being done this way due to COVID and what's not. Are you suggesting
Sure.
then it could have waited, or
Yeah. The thing is,
just
to
trying to
wait,
understand?
I don't want it to seem as if you're going to let the pandemic defeat you. However, you have to balance it. If you're doing something for the people who are part of the future should have the same chance to be engaged in whatever is happening at a particular time. And because of the restrictions, which is understandable, they can't. So if you had to wait one more year, would it have hurt us so much? Or should you just do it now and hope for the best?
yeah,
Kathy, like she don't agree with
Okay.
that point. Go ahead, go ahead,
yeah.
Kathy.
No, because
I
you see, Kathy was there the first time. But for people,
oh,
not
I don't
meaning that
remember.
she's old, I'm thinking not about
I
the
don't
children.
remember. Like I said, I
I'm
remember
thinking about
seeing it on TV.
the children now. How do they feel about it? How do they feel about the? I mean, some of them really don't care. But how do you feel when you know you're in cadets for so long? When you know you've marched at everything else, and this changeover, you have not been a part of it.
But so I
Safety
hear
first.
you.
Safety first.
Safety first.
I hear you, and I
I
agree.
think it's a
Go
case
ahead,
of
Carl.
okay,
But
sorry.
Go ahead, Kathy. Sorry.
I can also add that I understand after I thought about the emotional aspect of the people not being involved. I tell y'all, I think a lot. So then it came to my mind, you know what? When America became a republic, everybody did not become a republic at the same time. And so it was 78, 77, right. So like New York signed it, I think as number 13. So I can see that you take a while to get this thing done. So there's an opportunity later on for us to have a moment where everyone can be involved. But as I said, I went through several emotions
And thinking, no, and rightfully so.
morning.
Rightfully
till I
so,
came
Kathy.
to that.
Yeah,
till
I
I
would say
to that
my thing
conclusion.
would be part of me was torn because I'm like, all right, do we really need to do this now? Shouldn't we be focusing on COVID? Shouldn't we be focusing on re-engineering our educational system? Because I have friends who still have children in the system and it's been nightmarish for various reasons. You know, this thing skin up the whole world. But I can also see from an entrepreneurial point of view, get it done. Start. Take that first step and go. Saturn V rocket, one of the most massive at the time it was the most powerful rocket ever created. I'm into aviation and all
Yeah,
that
bring it
stuff.
in.
So yeah. But you know where that thing, I mean it's a massive rocket. Been to see it at the Space Center and everything. You know where it used up the most energy? Getting that first inch off the ground. So
Go
you
on.
gotta start. Look, we are and please, I know I can get cussed for this, but
Man, you ain't gonna get cussed,
Remember
don't worry.
that.
I ain't
I
getting
Remember
can, I
cussed.
can
that.
I
support
know,
you.
but somebody can do it. Anyhow, look, we
Don't worry
we,
with
we,
them.
like- we like too much talk, no action, talk only. So let me do it. Jump, do it.
So I want to come in and support you, but you gotta come back and support me with my butternut squash.
That dead. Listen,
What,
see,
what I was gonna
Taste
say?
test.
What I
Can
was
we
gonna
arrange a
say?
taste test?
don't bother to taste it.
Well, what I was gonna say to that, Kathy, is if we think during COVID, there are a number of things that we still did, and why did we do them? Because they were important, right?
Yes.
We found a way, and becoming a republic is actually a really significant thing. There's not a lot of let's say fascinating change that's going to happen in
Not
comparison to
immediately.
becoming independent. But there's a lot of potential for this to have a real great psychological effect on society, where suddenly we're saying, okay, it's actually ours. We've now moved out of our mother's house. I like that analogy, Carla
Yeah,
used.
it's a good one.
You know, so I think if we had put it off and said, because of COVID, we can't do this, we would suddenly be saying, well, becoming a republic is not that important then, right? So I think that's kind of an argument. However, I do get Carla's point about the engagement, because if we decide to do it, there still had to be better ways we could have engaged. We could have
Yeah.
had
But
a
these
whole
guys,
set of other media
but
around it.
our kids are into this digital stuff. You go out and you see these youngsters now, and they, this is what you see. They're sitting next to each other. I watched my son and his friends.
Hmm.
You group 5 or 6 of them, and every man jack head down in the phone. Right? So I mean the digital part, that's a part of their life. That's something that's shifted. So I don't have a problem with that. The digital engagement. Yeah, as Michael says, the TikTok generation, heaven help us. But I think doing it, getting it on the way, and then using that to as a foundation to build on the other very deep foundational changes that we have to make.
Yeah.
There's a lot in our society, our legal system, our educational system, the way we do business in the civil service that needs to be dragged, kicking and screaming if necessary, into the 21st century. We're still too fond of standing up in long lines for no good reason.
Go and see that
Okay,
piece of paper.
we do not have. Look, Barbados is 166 square miles. We don't have enormous rivers and mountains like Jamaica or Guyana or something. Can you tell me why we don't have complete, solid internet coverage over the whole island? We should be leveraging the digital technology.
The flattest place in the whole Caribbean.
And there's some people that will say to you, perhaps that's more important at this juncture than becoming a republic.
Well, we've been working. We've been excuse the expression, fooling around. I was going to say something worse, but we've been fooling around with that for how many years? There was what was it? The free Wi-Fi initiative that sort of somehow mysteriously died. You talk about not preserving things.
Oh, is it me or is your sound
No,
a
yeah,
bit,
she's gone again.
yeah, your sound is going a bit funny again, a bit touchy. Try again. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Look, I agree with the whole look. When was the right time? And yes, Barbados does have an issue, or the Caribbean really, with implementing things, to be honest. We talk a lot about things and we like a lot of papers and a lot of study and research and this and that and next and the third, and give the impression that we're doing things, and then before you know it, elections come, gone, and nothing has gotten done. So 100% agree with that. That said, I do agree with Carla as well regarding the engagement. There's a lot that could and should have been done to, and I think I used the same phrase in a previous show before when we spoke about the Republic and Barbados moved to Republic. There's a lot to be said that this thing is being done with us, and which would then also show that it's being done for us, as opposed to just being done to us. And it's unfortunate. It's a real unfortunate situation that we seem to be in regarding moving to being a republic. I get it. In history will say we've done it and it's great. And yes, there's opportunity to recalibrate our mind and our thinking about who we are, who we want to be, the pillars that underpin our society, and what's not as well, and all the different areas that we might want to improve. But there's something about bringing people along with you. There's something about bringing people along with you, and people feeling the moment.
There is
That goes a long way towards even jump starting that kind of revolutionary way of thinking to change things for the better about who we are, who we want to become, and what have you. And and this is personal. I know many people might have a thing about that, and for me, that feels as if it's missing.
It is.
And I hear that very much from people on the ground. And it's nothing to do with COVID. It's nothing to do with digital versus being there in person. There's just something about the conversation that just wasn't had to
Yeah.
bring people along with you, to seize that moment, even in the imagination of people of what this moment means. And I think that was the issue.
Andre, I hear you and I understand, but I would only ask you to reconsider one phrase. You said it's not because of COVID. I would disagree with you. I think
No, I
COVID
mean, not because of COVID
Yeah.
that people aren't necessarily, that's part where people aren't feeling it, but we could have navigated it still.
Yeah, but the COVID situation is so crazy. Look at what's happening with Omicron now. In the drop of a hat, in a split second, things skin up again. You get another change, another pivot. So I think people, we had for decades, we fooled ourselves into this sense of false security that we were actually in control of something. And then along comes something you can't even see and turns the entire world on its head. So I think, and the profound effects of that, you have the healthcare system under severe stress. You have the economy shut down, tourism, which, as you know, is to me, too important a part of our economy, but that's another discussion. But it really, I think COVID was the equivalent of the dinosaur killer asteroid from however many billion years ago. It literally changed the climate, the economic climate, the social climate of our entire planet. And whether we like it or not, we are part of that. And we're all connected. And if it's one thing about the 21st century, and this particular thing has shown us how crucial it is to maintain those connections. And so I'm torn. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I think it's something we should have done donkey years ago. because I
100%.
really could not. I
I
could
think-
not see why we were, excuse the expression, farting around with this for so many years. But
Yeah, I agree.
think most-
Michael, I wasn't suggesting a referendum, by the way. You can have conversation without a referendum.
Yeah.
I don't think that you needed a referendum in this conversation, but you
Apparently, it's
needed to
also
have
not
a
constitutional.
but you needed to have a conversation with me.
Yeah,
And
and
all
I
I'm
think-
saying is that, and agreeing, sorry, Mark, but agreeing
Yeah, go ahead.
totally, as well with Kathy, is my view is because of COVID, the conversation needed to be slightly different, and you had to navigate COVID in the conversation.
Yeah.
If this were happening without COVID, I could easily see the shortcut, because you'll be able to do a little bit more without COVID to shortcut it in this form or fashion. And I use the word shortcut loosely. Yes, I know we've been talking about this thing for years and years and years. I don't necessarily mean that it was just a willy-nilly decision. No? But all I'm saying is that because of COVID, then you needed to navigate COVID with a different type of conversation, perhaps even more conversation, recognizing that in the digital age, yeah, the kids might be good with it, but you got a lot of other people across the country that aren't really that big on the digital conversation, and therefore it might have taken a little bit more time to get to those people and bring them along with you in the conversation. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark. Say that.
Yeah, I was just going to pop back in this question from Jumi. How you doing, Brenda? Good to see you. And this is one of the themes that I think has really taken root when you don't strengthen the communications, as you were saying, and try and do more, go further, because you need the people. There's this strange thing that people are starting to latch on to about, well, what difference is it going to make to me?
What it can
And
do for
I
me.
think that is really problematic for the government, because we grew up with a generation of people who were there around independence, for whom it meant something coming away from 66. And a lot of their lives look back very strongly at that moment. So we're at that moment again. But it just feels as though, well, I don't know how to move forward from here. I believe in the project. I think most people believe in the project.
I think so too.
Most
I
people
think so.
believe in it. But I think this question of difference is one that has gotten away from the government, because people don't understand, particularly at the personal level, so what does it mean to me? And part of that is because of lack of communication. It's fallen down quite badly, I feel.
And so there's not just communication,
don't
maybe
even-
engagement.
I think
No,
engagement
no.
is the
Well,
thing.
Yeah.
let me be fair now,
Go
because
ahead, Kat.
even when they are engaged, people do ignore. As I said, these are all the thoughts that came to my head. I was
You
thinking
got
from
this written
different
down.
people. Let us become a republic. I feel it
Yeah.
is time. I'm tired of being.
I
You should see
agree.
the looks. I am
I agree,
tired
you
of
Carla.
those
People
looks.
people ignore, but people ignore when you're not speak using the language they understand,
Right.
and
So what
that's
I'm
not a
saying is,
condescending thing. But
you
sometimes you,
know,
you
No,
have
because
to always
I don't
find a
think
way
it's
to speak to.
human
condescending.
nature.
You have
I
to find
don't.
a way
I
to speak
didn't.
to hearts and minds,
Right.
and
That
you
is
have
human
to
But
you have to
nature.
can
understand
we?
what stirs people.
However, look at the point where we're saying we're taking people this place. However, John Public does not really understand. When we became independent, that was an immediate change. However, um, that is not necessarily true. Miss Knight, I checked that this morning for sure. But there's also a problem with referendum, because if people don't understand, when you tell them to vote, you're gonna end up with Brexit. So we don't want that, because they didn't
Exactly.
understand. Because I don't think it's lack of engage. Well, don't let me say that. I feel I should have been engaged. I say about me. And maybe teachers, and I'm saying there's some people in public, but however, I know for sure that there are going to be points in time, and so this is what the words could have been. We will become republic. However, there's on the road to republic. On becoming a republic is not a one day thing.
Yeah,
The
it's a
same way I
roadmap.
saying it here, you can say, it's not a one day thing. It is a process. We
Yes.
are doing this, and just like America as a new amendment every few years. This is We are looking at who we are, and we are going to be changing this in the next few years as a republic. You
So
feel that nobody understand that?
what you're
We
saying
will
is
understand.
what you're saying is like the first date should just be St. Michael. Then next year maybe bring St. James and St. Peter in.
No, but
And then about
but
10 years
but
down the
that's
line, St.
You
Lucy.
so dangerous.
no, we do have a lot of issues. We do have a lot of issues. And I
Scandal
made
there,
a
man.
joke about they just erased our
So
colonialism
look,
and left Barbados by itself. So instead of Barbados colony, I make a joke about that all the time about the constitution. We still had a parliament, and we still had parliamentary representation for too many years to just take a constitution that really needed a little bit more work. And so we know
a
that
lot
there's
more
some
work.
things. I didn't even want to get into the hair thing, because I know, yes, and my hair is processed. However, I will say
Uh-oh.
all the time that is my choice. But I
That's your
feel people
choice.
should do what they need. I should have my We should have our individual rights. And I think this is the way we need to go. However, people need to come forward then and say, I am speaking from this place, and this is what we will do. And then the understanding of referendum thought, and people say, yes, we can vote on these things in the next election. And not just have elections and then hear that you got a mandate for something, and people don't even know if you have a date with a
But
man. They really don't know what that word means. You don't use things to people all the time. You never explain
okay,
it, because realistically, you don't do it at school. And these men here
Okay.
laughing, but think
so
about
that's
it. You think most
I'm
bills know
sure
as a
99%
mandate?
rate of literacy.
We have to be real.
The-
You want people to be engaged, but you still didn't do it right with them. So we now feel, and this is why I would say to Jumi, now you should be feeling as if you now have a greater stake in
Make the
Barbados.
difference.
So I feel they
Be
should
the
have do the
difference.
Republic every since before I had to teach children about living at your mother house. I feel we should do that every since when I heard it at school, every since, and we would have been in a better place now. However, if I do not feel that I am part of this thing and I can change this thing, then will we really see the change we want?
Well, that's up to us as a people because
To
for
those who
months
understand.
they were calling for comments on the
Yes.
charter, right? And unfortunately, this is my country. This is we people, right? Look, let me tell you something about human nature. The Starship Enterprise could come down and hover over Bridgetown, and somebody can still say, "But I ain't see it."
That is true. That is
I
true.
mean, This is human nature.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I've lived in 4 different countries and visited a bunch more, and I can tell you the accent might change. The language might change, but human nature is human nature. And as a wise horse once told me, you can lead a human to knowledge, but you cannot make them think.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, so we're doing it, and it's up to us now as a people to get up, use the brain that God gave us, and think about where we want to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, whatever.
50 is where
I,
I would carry
I
that.
think that
But
I agree.
that's it. We still need to know that I am hearing you, I am with you, but I still think that we still will have people that you have to hold their hands. I'm not talking about people who are absent and people that are not, that don't care. Because there's still some people out there just checking to see
Yeah.
what is happening in the entertainment scene. But there are
Yeah,
people who can be, I don't want to say useful. There are people who have so many different ways of
Contributing.
adding value. That's it. Adding
Yeah.
value to our lives that we will not hear because they may feel they may not realize that people
Yeah.
are actually ready to listen to them. You're bringing people out of a system that really alienated them to now say to them, we can listen to you. So you really have to get out there and let people know, I will listen to you and I will not just shut you down. And I will go into what the young people, the forum the young people had the other day. And I think I sent it to the guys and told them they had some homework, but I didn't hear anybody mention anything. But I'm
I
gonna
saw.
check
I ain't
on
look at it yet.
I always give everybody a week. I'll give you guys 2 because
where
they're
you
really
sent it?
busy.
I don't
But-
remember seeing it.
You drop it on it.
It's on our chat.
Messenger. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but I said listen to those conversations, and I mean you can share with everybody, I guess, and Kathy will get a chance to see it. But the conversations that these young people have, they may not have had before the idea of us becoming a republic, but now they've been engaged. So I can see where people who are thinking, who are knowledgeable in a whole set of areas, and they can find a place. What we need to work on, as I say, is our institutionalized way of pulling people down. So you go to a
Yes.
particular school
Yes.
and you're not good, and so you see somebody.
So
some
will you say
ideas that
has
come
no
out of
value
these
or make
people.
no sense? Because it ain't.
Because
It do.
then once I have to speak up, people are going to think and
I'm so
God
glad you said
forbid
that.
you use
That is
Bajan dialect.
Again, mental chains.
I'm so
Yes.
glad you
Absolutely.
said that
So true.
because
So
Yes.
true.
because a couple of things. I'm really glad you said that, Carla. And I'll tell you why. Because I've been following a lot of comments, and people will see me comment on a few things on the internet and that kind of stuff, and get myself in trouble. But one of the things that I notice about the internet and the conversations you're having is that everybody always seems to be trying to win the argument, or rather than have a conversation. And if someone's comment down the line, if they're thinking all of a sudden it's stupid, you don't got any sense, go and do your own research, use a madman, da 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 da. And I think that that's exactly why we in this position right here, actually, where such a monumental moment is happening, but still a lot of people not, for the lack of a better term, not feeling it. And even some people will have an issue with the term feeling it. And it's because in so many cases we disregard people's commenting or wanting to engage with, if it's negative, therefore you're not for us, so you foolish, I ain't listening to you. And even us having this conversation now, there'll be so many people out there that will listen, and I'm sure they probably got so many comments even by the end that will say, you for it,
yeah.
or you against it, you foolish. I listen,
comments.
I firmly believe, and I said before, I am 100% for becoming a republic. That does not mean that I cannot have issue or question the way how it is being done.
Absolutely.
You know, and this nonsense. I can be 100% before my government and Prime Minister Mia Motley. It does not mean I
That you can't
cannot
criticize
question
some-
or
Absolutely.
critique the way something is being done or what is being done.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you get labeled with some nonsense title if you have a question. And I think that seems to, and I go further, I feel there's a bit of a Bajanism there, you know. The moment you questioning anything,
Yeah.
you's either a troublemaker, you foolish, or you ain't got no understanding
Are you
of
from
that
the
thing.
are you from the
opposition?
Yes.
No,
it's
that no,
everything political.
Yes.
gentlemen, gentlemen, no. That is actually a very smart and effective political tactic to divide and conquer. You
Oh
destroy
gosh.
your opponent's what you call it, credibility.
Credibility.
Validity.
First thing, you destroy their credibility. Man, you're too foolish. And unfortunately, this is how it is in Barbados. We are a verbally violent society. Okay,
Interesting
when you hear,
language.
I've heard some things that people say to one another. I'm like, oh. You hear parents telling their children some truly cruel, horrible things, and I have to walk away because I would get in trouble. Right? I've been told I've been on the receiving end of some pretty vile comments and whatnot, and I'm at the stage of maturity now where I'm like, no, not really. Walk away, keep moving, or as you say now, keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, this is how it is. So the same mental chains. You need to be able to step back and look at something in a very logical, analytical way.
Critical way. Yeah.
If critical thinking, as my boy Dr. Brown would say, David Brown. Listen, when you start talking about critiquing, people have to understand something. They only had one perfect human being, and they crucified him. So
There you go.
any human out there in any position of leadership, any position
Peter
where
Baker
you're
might
going
tell
to
you
attract
otherwise.
attention, you are going to be criticized. That is part of human nature.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Okay? Now, if you really care about someone, if you really do care about a cause, you are going to, in what I would call constructive criticism. If you saw a friend of yours, somebody you supposedly care about, and they're about to drink poison, you're just going to sit there and watch them drink poison? I'm not. Look, you remember many years back, they had this girl that was killed in Aruba or something. She got into a car with a strange man, and they found her. He was a serial killer. Ugh. I can tell you this. I have friends to this day that if I, in my crazy teen years, was about to get into a car with a strange man, one of two things would have happened. Everybody getting in the car together, or none of we ain't getting in the car because we cared about enough about each other to stop each other from doing foolishness,
Yeah.
or at least to ask you now as a grown up, you would say, okay, Kath, you sure you know what you're doing? Explain to me why you are doing what you are doing. Criticism is not. There is malicious criticism, as you said, where you just call the body an idiot and a mujin or whatever, but you're not really actually making an opposing point. You're not
But it's
presenting an opposition, a legitimate opposing view. You're just
But-
criticizing for the sake of criticizing. That's foolishness.
Can
but
I,
in this particular.
can I say here? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carla. Go ahead.
Can I say here? This is something we've had a discussion about it at my home, and even when I'm teaching, I say all the time, there's a difference between an argument and a quarrel, and I think we like to quarrel. Quarrels have no substance. There's just
Good
a lot
point.
of noise. You may say something that may sound like a point, but it's not developed, which means it's a quarrel. So if a child writes something to me, I say, no, you're quarreling with me. Where's your what do you have to back this up? And another thing we like to do is to call people out, call out people by their name, call them idiots, call them whatever. I don't know when that became part of us. Yes, we like a pizza, we like a little argument. We we like to say, I can play the devil's advocate. No, we do stir the pot. We know that we like to do that. However, there is a place for critical analysis. And this is what I did.
She
I
froze.
was critical on the thing from a number of points. At the end of the day, I want us to become Republic tomorrow or whenever the day is. I'm going to like it yesterday. However, but we have to look at it. How are we doing it? Are we doing it in a way that is going to be sustainable, that's going to be engaged? I can ask those questions, and I can ask them in this forum, because at the end of the day, I know no one is going to say, they bring that ignorant woman here so to bring up their foolishness and talk against Prime Minister. And even if they do, we can take the nails out, we can take it out of the forum and done with that. We can ask questions. How about our public? How are they going to respond? We can ask that. But I'm hearing some people that have legitimate things to say, but because it's coming from some people, we don't want to listen. And sometimes it's not so much the politicians saying anything, because sometimes they don't even get a chance to hear it before everybody else starts to say.
But they know they ain't gonna say nothing though. They know exactly what's gonna
But
happen.
that is true too. But some of the times, I must say, some of the times it is not called for. It is. It doesn't need the response that is bitter. We don't need to call names to make a point. If you're saying that was not true because in my district this happened, I don't know your district, but I can understand if you just say that. But don't tell you is an idiot because no. How do we get to that point? Then we can just say simply that didn't happen in my experience. We can do better.
Exactly.
You are doing one. You are speaking as a human being.
Ooh, Kathy, your sound is gone again.
Let me all try. Let me all
know
try
it's-
to mute and let Kathy speak.
Let's,
Any better? I hate.
I think she got a problem on her.
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
unplug your thing and plug back in again.
Yeah.
You're on mute now. Good conversation. Let me see. Oops. Okay, there
Any
you
better?
go.
Any
Yeah,
better?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Two things. One, Carla is speaking using logic. Two, Carla appears to be a reasonably well-balanced human being who doesn't have too many self-hate issues. And I can't see a lot of people walking about out there because if you're not happy with who you are, you lash out and you become very malicious in the dictionary sense of the word towards other people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know Carla so good. We've only been chatting for however long. But she strikes me as being reasonably well-balanced.
Right.
I'm joking. No, seriously though, we have a lot of hurting people out there and they don't know how to deal with the internal issues, so they lash out. Right? And it is verbal violence. That's what it is.
Verbal violence. Wow.
It
But
is.
over the past couple of years, it feels as though this whole question of should we critique or can we critique has become so emboldened. Since the last election in Barbados, people feel as though just leave it to the government. The government will find it. They're doing a great job. Just let them get on with it. And if you come with an alternative perspective, people are ready to just pull you down because they feel as though you don't know what you're talking about, and this government know what they're doing, and this prime minister is always going to get it right. But that just feels like a really dangerous place to me. It feels as though you should always be able to put your voice in conversation and critique things that the government are doing.
I agree with that. I mean, and to be honest, a democracy is not when you create a government is not about consensus. It is really about I've elected you, so because I consent to you
But it's
making
about
decisions. But you do still need that conversation. So there's those three things that you need.
Accountability. It
It's
is
about the
holding,
accountability.
and this is where we fall down. We have laws in Barbados about wearing a helmet while you're riding a bicycle, and I can guarantee you, at least 50% of the cyclists that I see don't have on helmets. How long has it? It has been illegal to drive and talk on your cell phone unless you're using your hands free. Still see people doing it all the time. Accountability. We have to hold ourselves and our leaders accountable.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
I was just going to make a point there on because there was something you said earlier, Kathy. Not you mentioned accountability. I think it was the whole idea of what do we do now that we're a republic. I think sometimes it's good to distribute that accountability and push it out a bit further into different sectors of society.
Yeah, away from the center.
Away from the center. Allow other people to be empowered and know that this is what it means. Here's some ideas, but it's up to you to really define it, and you get to do it. And when you bring it back to me and present it, I will make sure it gets the right platform and prominence so that people can get further ideas and be energized about what we're going to do with this.
This is a story without accreditation. It might just be one of these made up things, but it is said that Barack Obama, especially in his first term, he made a point of going and talking to people and listening to people. Now, he's not necessarily going to do what they want him to do. He's going to still make his decision because that's his job.
Yeah.
But he at least has the input. and he's listened to people. And I think that is a very good leadership style.
But before you make, but you listen to people before you make a public decision.
Yes.
Don't make a decision publicly and then tell me, and I can listen to you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Anyway, Mark, you didn't want to jump in there for a while.
Well, yeah, because I had the pleasure of reading The Nation today, the Barbados Sunday Sun, and I was kind of looking through some of the changes that are coming, which I thought, well, yeah, I could probably live with that. That's fine. But then I got to the one at the bottom about the government abolishing honors and the knighthoods and the gold and silver stars and whatever.
Well, here it
and
comes.
our highest honor now is going to be the freedom of Barbados. And these two
100% for that.
I was jumping up my skin.
It has been
I'm
an
100%
option for
that.
about 2 years. It has been an option.
Hang on, but I saw that on Tuesday, Dame Sandra will be awarded this. I'm all for that. That's
All
good.
for that.
Fantastic. Yes. But then it said Prince Charles will be presented with the freedom of Barbados. Why? And that I do not understand.
Assuming the article is correct, by the way.
But I do, and this is where if you don't communicate well to people and
Hold on,
with you, go ahead,
Jaffe.
You
want me?
No.
Oh Lord, bring it out. Say, I can put your big on your screen. Bring it out.
Gaffy, help me with that one, because I'm struggling badly to understand that.
I can't help you, my friend. I wish I could, because there's a song that I can't remember who it is that sings it, but you can kiss my right. So as far as I'm concerned, if Prince Charles is coming in tonight at 11:30 or whatever, and you can have the whatever gun salute, and they had to warn people so they don't freak out. Wonderful. But you know what he should be bringing? A big fat check for reparations.
Oh, there you go. And this,
honestly.
You see,
right? I mean, I'm sorry, right?
That's another topic we need.
The Europeans went into Africa, skin up everything, and now they're punishing the whole continent of Africa for being poor. Hello.
This is your doing.
Hello. Okay, there is an alternate, there's a sci-fi book there, The Redemption of Christopher Columbus, and it takes place in the far future alternate reality where the Africans colonized Europe, and it is a wonderful read. Okay, so I mean, seriously, I as far as I'm concerned, I ain't want a lot of long talk. Bring the money. Show me the money.
You know what I mean? Well, I ain't even know we there for in first place. I mean, it can't stop me.
I don't get it.
But that is a white name.
You know what they've done? You know one good thing that was done that was, to me, I chose to interpret it as a form of reparations, and it's done a lot of good, and I want to see it continue. The Duke of Edinburgh scheme. Yes. It's not called that anymore. I can't remember. I did it donkey years ago. Because it has trained a lot of young people and given them opportunities that they might not have had otherwise. So as far as I'm concerned, that was one good thing. But you see the rest of it? Come. Bring some money. Bring some blends.
Why,
Carla, you wanted to say that?
The highest honor that we could bestow on a
I ain't even going there. I cannot go there. I cannot go there.
You leaving that one?
My point was, you know, when you invite yourself, remember last week, you invite yourself to a wedding and you share a cake and you have tokens, you got to give people who came to the wedding. I will leave that right there.
Yeah, but that, listen.
So if you
it
go
makes
back to
absolutely no sense to me.
My
I
thoughts
don't know.
and words are not fit for a beautiful Sunday or for polite company.
Okay.
I think
you just upset me completely, because if you say that you're going to warn people about a gun salute, I think you should have warned me that this is what he's also going to get. Hopefully the news has gotten it wrong and it's not the highest honor. It's like, thank you for coming, shake his hand or something like that. I am hoping that the news got it wrong.
To be honest, while we are angry at it, it causes me some concern, right? And the reason it causes me, okay, that's good. But the reason it causes me concern is, I was listening to a podcast today from UCL with David Comishaw. He was talking about why Barbados in 1966 did not immediately become a republic. And one of the reasons was because of Prince Philip. Prince Philip actually was against Barbados gaining its independence for whatever reason. And so one of the sort of handshake gestures was, okay, we'll remain a constitutional monarchy. So, but we want our independence. And then in the future, we'll become a republic. So the fact that something like this is happening makes me think, there's a bit of appeasing that's
There's a
happening
trade-off happening here
There's
somewhere.
a bit of trade-off happening here, but what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? Because it can't be just getting this. There must be something else.
Yeah.
This is what we have to be vigilant of now and see what is this other thing that's stirring in the background.
And this is what people will chip
It's the
away at.
second highest. I've been informed reliably. It's the second highest award.
Man, it shouldn't be getting no award.
Stirring, Carla stirring.
Stirring,
And
Mark.
this is not me. I'm not trying to create some sort of conspiracy theory or so on. And also, I don't
But
doubt
this
the
is-
integrity of our leadership, right? But I do know that as a very small nation, we can
But
be
Phil-
at the mercy of large nations in some regards.
Phil, I don't think
it
you
can be
need to.
worrying.
I don't think you need to caveat what you're saying, because precisely exactly what we're talking about engagement and conversation, where it is absent, is exactly why those kind of
It leaves the gaps.
thinking
Of
would
course.
happen. And when you leave a gap, people can fill it.
Yeah.
What
You
people
know?
expect to be thinking now about this particular thing? What should we think?
People can fill it. Someone said that if we give you some exposure, we've been British papers.
Oh,
hey,
man.
we did British papers for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and then got
I don't need no exposure. Keeping my clothes on.
Informed and biased article.
There's only one. Almost every major newspaper here had a Barbados article at some point especially over the last 3-4 weeks.
And you can guarantee that the
Little
press
China.
are traveling with Charles to write this story in terms of whatever it's going
To
be.
me, it's also the impression. Let's go back to what Philip saying. It's also the impression that it gives. To me, if we can do it, and all the firebrand speeches that we've been hearing about it, and why we doing it, and Bajan this and Bajan that, Bajan, which I 100% agree with.
Indeed.
If we can do it, and we gonna be so brave to go on way, do it. We don't need his blessing. No, I'm not saying that he's coming to give his blessing, but the impression it's gonna give, trust me, is that we are going with their blessing.
Yes.
And with their
Yeah.
he's coming and hand over, like how they hand over Hong Kong to China. If we can done, let me done.
Thank you.
Let me done. Say he a letter about it. Let he see it. Let he wake up on BBC in the morning and see the celebrations in Barbados like everybody else.
Send him a link.
Now tell me what he doing down in Barbados.
Oh, let he come down here with his little hat. I don't see one Bajan child lining any streets waving flags for jazz.
It
I hope I
unravels the
don't
whole
see
project.
one single.
It unravels the whole
Andre,
project.
first of
It
all,
unravels the
COVID.
project, man.
First of all, COVID. Can't do that.
Okay.
So listen.
But in all fairness, it cold out here.
So you gave a vacation?
So I do not blame the guy. It
I
cold.
was saying I could do it 2 weeks in Barbados now myself.
Indeed.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
After my first Canadian winter, when it was minus 28 degrees Celsius with a wind chill of minus 32 on Christmas Day, when that plane landed for my summer vacation at Grantley Adams, when they opened the door and that hot air
Oven.
rolled in,
The oven,
tears
man.
came to my eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
I agree with you. Mind you, the
Yeah.
next year I learned to downhill ski, but hey.
Adapt. No,
I'm an adaptosaurus.
Exactly.
That's how I do to live.
I like that.
That is true. That's good. No, it's interesting to see that though. But again, conversation.
Well,
Engage.
diplomats, I mean, I don't know.
But it's when you're trying to be too smart, because you could be trying to be too smart to play both games that you undermining another one. Because on one hand, this is being said, but then you playing this other game over here to try to do this,
And expect the public to interpret it.
and then you leave the public to interpret it. Like, but you
Andre,
undermining the thing you're trying to do.
Although, like You know, they got some Bajan sayings. There's one thing I love about independence. All the Bajanisms start coming out again.
Come back
A
out.
couple. One. But I think this is worldwide. God don't like ugly. One. And number two, very important. One, smart dad at two, smart door. Okay? So
All coming out now.
yeah, and my friend Karen just said the same thing in a private chat. Look, it is I value, as Michael says, the pomp and pageantry. There is something about a parade. Okay, I have been down. I like my bed, but I'd be up early to watch the independence parades in pre-COVID times. Totally enjoyed that. You know, my husband spent time as a cadet. My sister-in-law had a great career with the defense. Well, first she started off at sea first, but anyhow, wound up in the Defense Force, Ackling branch. Probably embarrassed the heck out of her now. Anyway, but seriously, yeah, it is what it is. And the thing too that I keep reminding myself is that our Prime Minister, the Cabinet, and these other decision makers have access to information that we don't have. Okay, the typical man in the street, even the people like me that take a deep interest in this stuff, there's a lot of information that we as civilians, for want of a better term, don't have access to. You know, and to be honest, sometimes when I see the decisions that have to be made at that top level, I'm very glad I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And that will always be the case. That will always be the case.
Responsibility.
Add a little balance.
Sorry?
You know, I said about coming to the wedding or whatever, but as much as I see it as a handover, I'm not getting myself all excited about it, because it's just that he will go back home, and he will continue to be whatever he is in the country. However, in Barbados, they will no longer be a part of who we are, and that's the end of an era. So with him departing, it could also be symbolic if we look at it as they are finally giving us.
I like that.
We finally getting keys for our own house. You know, I going back to the house. I try to be real, because if I let COVID make me anxious, and then what the government is doing, and then what is going on with other things. So not that I will be blinded to see that, let me look at this thing from another way, but I will also say, let's just see, okay, it's handing over the thing. You are now your own people. Let's do it that way.
So he come into the housewarming. You see it.
Yeah, but not that you know, you don't always want people, but you don't always tell them no. And you gotta know when to say no, you know. You really have to know when to say, I don't want you. Yes, Andre, I get you. I hear you clearly. And it could be some undoing for some people, but at the end of the day, he will not stay here.
Agreed.
What will be bothersome, however, is in a few years when we don't get people getting that second highest honor, and people feel as if they have been undervalued. That will be the issue. So we have to be very careful. This is where are you really booked to where are we going? How will our people feel? Because if they're still feeling disenfranchised, you're still going to have the same issue you had between 1966 and now. So you still have to make sure people do not feel that way when you're giving awards to non-Barbadians, and then Barbadians can't get them. So we will really have to ensure that we do the right thing by
to use another analogy. You know, sometimes when people getting married, there's some people that invite to the church and others that invite to the reception. And there's a reason why you know who get invited to the church. This is my people. I want you here to witness this. Y'all could come and eat unto the party. Y'all could come to the party, but at the church, this is my group of people. Right? So this is one of these ones where I think you could give here an invitation a week later, but in here, this is all we. And that's symbolism too. And to me, this is where you go whole hog with the conversation that we've been having. That we this is ours. We doing this. I don't care. To me, there's a bit of symbolism in that. That should be thing. I understand that you're trying to play off, but to me, in playing that game, you undermine over here.
Yeah.
but you just spend the last how much ever months telling me that this was the most important thing. You know, that's like the phrase for visitors and locals alike. I hate that phrase. You know, it's a similar thing because no, you put me second. Why can't anything be done for me?
Oh, hello. Here is your sister.
So and only me, and them might get a little benefit too. But talk to me.
But
Don't
this-
put them on the same level as me.
When people
And to
start
me, that's the symbolism.
Look, at the beginning of the month, it was our church that celebrates across the globe International Day of Service the first Saturday in the month. So I have a bugbear, a thing about the nastiness that I see on the boardwalk every morning. So I said, all right, can we organize and clean up the boardwalk? Got permission from the COVID unit, had 18 or 19 people down there, and we cleaned up. And then I would talking to people about it, and they would say, well, you know, we got to keep it looking nice for the visitors.
Oh,
No,
Lord.
this is where my
You
eyes
start cleaning.
to go.
I start
Eyes
cleaning.
start to go. The horns come out, the fangs come out, the claws, and I'm like, okay, here's the thing. Whose country? Who is here? 366. 24/7, 366.
Yeah.
Us.
Yep.
Tourism is important. Don't get me wrong, but don't be doing stuff for the tourists. With all due respect to our tourists, with all due respect to that very important part of our economy, home drums beat first. We should be keeping our country clean and tidy because we care about each other. Not to impress somebody that coming down the road.
Was that you, Phil?
Phil going,
No, when you say the home drums, like beat the drum.
Cha, all right then.
Kim going, Phil going straight into Nifka there, man.
Listen. It's a lucky day. You want the
Yeah.
spirit of El Verno del Congo coming back.
You understand?
There you go.
But Mark, you've
Well-
mentioned changes there in the newspaper. Anything else jump out at you?
Yeah, so Government House will become State House, the home of the president. Apparently, we're removing the life-size portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. That's going to the Barbados Museum. We're going to have
Good.
a portrait of Dame Sandra, which is fully appropriate. The coat of arms will now be on the state car with the president, with the president's official seal. The license plate will be PD1, apparently. And all the badges of the various ranks of the Barbados, the Royal Barbados Police Force, the Defense Force, and Prison Service, which now carry the crown, will be replaced by the Barbados coat of arms. That's a good thing.
And it will be the Barbados Police Service.
Service.
Yes.
Now,
Drop the force.
unpick that. Seriously. No, not only that. If you look at what's happening in the United States, which is heartbreaking and scary, when you see the negative interactions between people of color and usually white police officers and the police force, the use of that term force. Okay? I love the fact that it will become the Barbados Police Service.
Good point. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, the American police force, that concept, they started as slave catchers. Okay, so that's really not the best sort of history that you want for that country, but that's a whole nother discussion. Here in Barbados, our police officers are to protect and do what? Serve.
Serve.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, to protect us, to serve us, to help
Yes.
keep us safe, to prevent crime where possible, to catch
Absolutely.
perpetrators when prevention does not work and the crime occurs. So I love that change. Words have power.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And of course we will see the oath of allegiance, which historically has been to the Queen, will be replaced by a new oath to the Republic, and that will be taken by the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, Cabinet, and Parliament, and the Judiciary. So
Okay,
I'm sure there'll be other things that will come forward as well.
When we say, I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, that's not changing.
I don't know.
I don't.
I would
know.
assume not. I would assume not.
I'm trying to think.
In fact, I don't think there's any change
No,
to the
that's not
national pledge.
changing.
The national pledge
That's the
doesn't
pledge.
change.
The
That's the
oath
pledge.
is the one
The
that they
oath,
take in
the
Parliament.
oath, not the pledge.
That
Yeah.
they say they're
Thank you.
whatever to the Queen and her children, And people usually have a
Representative.
problem with that swear,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
particular one.
Well, the monarchy is irrelevant. The monarchy is outdated. Should be done away with.
I saw Michael put this here.
Put
Where's
it back
that one?
up.
Oops. Who? All right, I was putting it. All right, go ahead, put it up.
No, you go ahead. Oh,
Yeah. Right, okay, there you go. Yeah, put this here. I would hope that I don't have to call for it.
he should have. Well,
I gotta be honest, man.
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
hope that I don't have to call for it. I should hope it just drop off straight away, and he even refused to allow himself to be called that.
Time
That's
will
just
tell.
me.
interesting one, isn't it?
Tell.
Matter of fact, I might argue that it should have happened before Republic too, but that's another conversation.
Well, given the other conversations he's having,
Given all the
right?
other conversations, I would argue, but hey, not me to think, but
Time will
I
tell.
agree, Michael. Time with them.
Anyhow, let's bring this home. We've been talking for 2 hours,
Yo. But
but it's
But-
great.
It's
But
important.
it says a lot though, and also the guys that
Yeah.
in the chat as well, is that how much conversation and good conversation, because this was not
yeah.
anything mean spirited. We agree with some points, we disagree on other points. We just have a conversation. This would tell you how much conversation there is to be had,
Yeah,
and then I would probably go on even after Tuesday as well. I thought that was good. But one thing I was gonna say, what favorite song? What's your favorite Bajan song? Let's put that there for a second. But think about it, and then you let me know. Favorite Bajan song?
I
know.
love Beautiful and Unspoiled. I love it. I love it. It's in my top 5 songs. in the
Cheryl, right?
world.
Cheryl
I
Haggard.
love,
Yeah.
love,
Cheryl
love
Hackett,
that
right?
song.
Cheryl Haggard. I think she's an Alexander
Yes.
girl too, you know.
Oh,
She had the most awesome voice. But you know, the song for me that brings tears to my eyes. This is when I was living in Canada, and the Merry Men came to Ontario Place. They were playing live,
Very
and
popular
when
in
they
Canada, the man.
started "Beautiful Barbados," I still getting goosebumps remembering that. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
that to me that's my song for Barbados. Beautiful Barbados. I mean, there are others on the list. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful and Unspoiled is one. This Is Who We Are would be a relatively
Yes.
new addition.
mhm.
And I go add on that one.
Who
y'all.
sing This Is Who We Are? That is
That's a whole medley of
The
people.
Bajans.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yes.
All
Yeah, okay.
people, like
I was
20
thinking
artists or something.
Funny
Man.
artist. Mm-hmm.
And you say you got add on this is home?
Yeah, man. I think so.
Oh, Phil,
Yeah.
Phil, you there, man? Phil,
I up there. All right. Good.
I think you're there, man.
Free.
Yeah, somebody say Emerton. Anything? Yeah, guys in the
Emerton.
chat.
People say
Emerton would be
Emerton.
Guys in the
definitely
chat,
a
let us know
Some
too.
people say
Emerton.
Yeah.
Rupee, but I just love that song.
hmm
Yeah,
Makes
I
my
think
year.
one of my favorite songs is "I Walk Away from Love Once More." That's by is that Shirley Stewart?
Yes.
To me, that song is one of the most melodic and lyrically thing songs that there is. I love that song.
I Am a Bajan by Ruby, definitely.
Can't Control My Emotions by Wendy Allen is one that I would have to throw in.
My Country to Me by Mark Lord. That
Mark Lord.
song is a song
top
and a
song.
half.
Oh yes.
Top song. Top
Yeah.
song.
Maybe we should have done that. Just play some songs. Like
That-
Talk about
just
them.
play them.
That's what I've been doing on
Feels good,
Tuesday.
my
That
cancel
would
me.
be lovely.
That's what I've been doing on
Oh, but
Tuesday.
no, we can't do that on Facebook.
You can play some, but sometimes they will mess you up. Sometimes every now and then. Was this Walk Up on It? My number one. That's Michael. Hey, if it's your number one song, that's your number. Cry Me a River was that one? I don't know. You got to get down and cry me a river. Is that one?
Jackie Opel.
Cry me a river.
Come on,
Jackie
man.
Opel. Yeah.
Jackie,
You
yeah.
got to turn your heart the way you broke
Huge.
mine.
But let me tell you something.
Mm.
As far as I'm concerned, for the current generation,
Mhm.
anything that the Nicholas Branca band play, you see, have you heard that Spooge medley?
I heard it supposed medley. I had one critique of it.
Which was?
Not of the song itself. When I listened to the song, the thing that came home to me was, it is time for new Spooge songs.
Yes. Okay.
So it wasn't a critique of the song itself. It just gave me a very
Some
thing. I was like,
recognition.
it is time for
Wow.
new Spooge songs.
More cowbell. More
So
cowbell.
we'll be hearing something from you guys soon then? That's what you're saying to us?
Phil, we get on it. We can bring out something, man.
I work on
I
it.
actually think that we should build around independence. We should build Spooge and a spooge festival around independence. The same with the Trinis, how Parang is a Christmas thing, and you all kinds of songs and stuff. I know people argue about how to revise spooge. I think we missed a trick with it. I don't necessarily like to build types of genres around festivals because then it gets pigeonholed in that festival.
Yeah.
But to me, to keep the genre alive and to get new songs, man, encourage people to write new things. We shouldn't always have to be going back to Jackie Open. That's the foundation, but we should be building on it.
We haven't built on it.
We haven't
The
built
same
on
with
it.
Tuck as well, you know.
And the same with Tuck. I think we
There's
miss a trick
something
around
special there.
independence
Yeah.
where spooge is concerned.
Listen.
And I think that's something we should do.
That, you know what I miss about independence, now I think about it? Usually, I guess it would be NCF or somebody would organize a series, usually a Friday night down at Pelican Village. And you would see the Tuk Band, the not Mukajumbi, Tiltman, mixing up my island. Sorry. Apologies, huge apologies. I have a friend who is a Tiltman and he would not be happy.
I watched that, Michael. That show was something else, boy.
Right? But seriously, you know, to being out there and feeling that beat, seeing it, feeling it, watching it live, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I know Andrew was saying John thing
Yeah.
about it, but we missing it. And to me, latch on independence. If you need something to hook on to, I will hook on independence and create
I
a
was so
whole
happy.
thing around spooge and get
I don't
the
know.
young fellas bringing out new things,
There
man.
is, what is it? It's 94.7 that plays 100% Bajan music. I think that's a CBC station. You should be able to get it online. There is an app called TuneIn that I
Yeah,
use,
I know it. Yeah.
right? 100% Bajan music. And I hear stuff that I did not know was Bajan. Look, we have the whole gamut, right? You got people like JJ Poulter with Kite and these guys,
Jonah Lomo.
Jump, all these people.
All these guys, yeah. That people don't know about writing some
Right?
real good
I
stuff.
mean, we're accustomed to the jazz, but we don't know that they got serious Bajan rock bands out there.
And they're really good.
And they're really good.
And some of the
Yeah.
things that we're hearing, what they do is they also play things that people write. So we are actually getting things that are written by Barbadians as well. And we're like,
Yes.
wait, that's Bajan.
know
Well,
that.
a lot of them I knew, but some of the calypsos that I've never heard in my life. But the rock and sometimes the pop, and some of the rap I would hear, but some of those songs, they're
And some of
really
them make
dug
the point.
deep.
Did Kathy walk up? Of course, Kathy walk up. I even had chair dancing down to an art because I spend most of my day at my computer with music on, and I'd be chatting with the DJs on WhatsApp or something and saying, "Hey man, you got me dancing in my chair."
I agree.
But the spoken word artists,
This is true.
Yes, thank
Mahalia.
you. Yes, we have to shout them out. Adrian Green, that's his name. Shh. Even Gabby. You know what blows me away about Gabby? I'm a Gabby fan girl. I make no apology.
You watch our show when we had Gabby on? If not, you gotta go watch it
If you
here.
got 3 hours, to
My
spare,
Gabby keep me for 3 hours.
Listen, yeah, well that's Gabby.
And we
I
could
have to tell
record
you,
the
we
next
had an
hour and a
hour.
half after.
Thing-
Because you kept me on for an hour and a half after that.
Gabby sit down and make up an extempo calypso in like 45 seconds. I am blown away.
He's genius level, man.
He is. He
fabulous.
is.
There ain't no two ways about it. Gabby's genius level.
You know, honestly. But we have some talent out there. Them Stu, all these people that come out. And even in the visuals now. Oh dear. What's his name? Matthew. Fantastic graphic artist. Does some one mixed chemist, that's his name, his handle. But fantastic. But you know, but we got creativity out the yin yang. We just
Indeed.
respect it. We have to.
Indeed.
But you see, we do not respect the creatives. Why you don't go and get a real job?
We don't respect
never
our
Respect
creatives.
us.
We
You
don't
see,
respect
it
our
comes back down
creatives.
to what
But
we
our
started with, Kathy.
Right.
What is our image? What do we
The
want to
people's-
show?
The
And we
people's
like
art movement, all them years ago, Omawali and Sundiata Stewart, and me out drawing and painting in public spaces with these guys. And somebody can call my mother and ask my mother, what you letting your daughter run around with all them bad men for? right? Rash Ishi, Ras Ishi, Ras Akyem, all these fellas, amazingly talented.
Thinkers. Yeah.
And I'm not even fit to talk about choreography and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's way out of my lane. But
Yep.
we have the talent.
So look, we've touched on Barbados, our home, the celebration, how we're feeling, the next chapter. And I wonder if you guys have got a final word, actually, that you want to leave for our audience this evening around, how you're feeling and even how they might be feeling about where
and
we're
the future
going in the next chapter. I'll start with you first, Carla. What would you want to leave with our audience this evening?
I am excited. I'm ready. I'm ready for this republicanism. I am eager to see what we can do as a country, where we will go for as long as I will live, because I can't see after that. But I do think that we have so much to build on, and once given a chance, we can do better. Have other issues, but I have confidence in us. We just need to have a lot more confidence in us as a people, and give more people a chance, and not just write people off because they're not looking or sounding or being something that we don't think is Bajan. And accept all Bajans, because we talk about us as our color, but we have not included the Muslims who are born here, who don't know anywhere else.
Yes.
And don't talk about the people who are mixed, that people will disrespect and say, well, you're too fair, and in another forum, you're too dark and you don't know where to put yourself. And so we need to listen to each other and really be honest with who we are, and say, you know what, this is how we look, this is how we are, and we are going together. And this is where Peter Ram should come in and play something, that family song. And that's my outro.
No, we love it.
Wow.
We love it. And
We
thank
love
you
it.
so much for that, Carla. And Kathy, what about yourself?
I would say to my people, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to go sideways. Things are going to happen that you didn't intend. Dust yourself off, pick yourself up, and go again better. I know it's become a trite phrase nowadays, build back better. But this is the opportunity that we have to do this. When you get let down, you have a choice. You can stay where you are, or you can get back up. And I think it's Les Brown that says, when you fall down, make sure you fall facing up. That's one way left to go. So to my Bajans, I would say, move forward, keep moving, keep improving, learn from your experiences. I don't want to call them mistakes, but learn from the experiences. And it is not a smart thing to repeat a mistake. I will say that. Right? We learn from our experiences, but we need to move on together as one.
Yeah.
Look at the fingers on your hand. Each one has a different purpose. Okay? And as you said, I have one grandparent that was born in St. Vincent, one grandparent on the other side that was born in St. Lucia. And I'm sure a lot of my fellow Bajans can share those kind of stories. We mix up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
We are
Bajan.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay, so we need to remember what that is. And my final parting word or phrase would be to say, I kind of wish our national motto had been reversed, that we were focused more on the industry. And less on the pride. I would prefer to be industrious and then proud, not the other way around, because too many of us fall for that. But pride and industry and pride. Barbados strong.
Yeah.
I love it. I like that. I like that.
And I took something from the National Service of Thanksgiving today, which I thought was beautiful under this theme. Fortifying foundations, overcoming adversity, pursuing destiny.
Nice.
It feels like us. It absolutely feels like this is where we are now as a nation. And I think the thing that I would say around where we are going. We're not going to wake up Wednesday and become a different people or a different nation. We are on our journey, and it will take time.
Exactly.
And we just got to go on the journey. We will have healthy tension from time to time, but we'll work through them. Phil, I think you had written something that you wanted us to bring for us this evening.
Yeah, there's a poem called Fresh Sound. And it's really about having a fresh sound, but it seems very familiar. And I feel like that's what the Republic is. It's something fresh that we're going to do, but as we say, we'll wake up tomorrow and Tuesday, and things are going to look the same. But I hope this gives people a bit of energy as we go into it. So here we go. Fresh sound. There's a fresh sound with an ancient beat of hearts, of fist, and freedom's feet. Souls with singing, rest, repeat. Songs and weeping stir the deep, clothed in corals, sorrows, sleep. Where leaders lead, the keepers keep. Sowing seeds that reapers reap. Wisdom's words elders speak, and misplaced truths that seekers seek. When warriors fall, drinkers drink. Champions rise when foes retreat. Doubters doubt, but thinkers think. Writers write with timeless ink, and tribal tongues tell sacred songs of dreamers' dreams as sun goes down. We pluck the strings, we strike the drum, we feel the bass, we smell the rum from sugar burnt, crushed, and brung. Bones buried beneath the ground where roots return, and seeds have sprung. Fields and forests forever belong, where spirit choirs gather round. Be still and know the peace they've found from the ancient beat with the fresh new sound.
Yeah, the drum in there. Yeah, excellent. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous, man.
Good stuff. Look, guys, that was such a good conversation. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank
Because
you for the opportunity.
no, anytime
That
at
was good.
all. Stop
Valuable
by anytime at
Thank
all.
you very
Get
much.
have a drink, a cup of tea. Might have a rum for anybody next time.
You just sat down in front of witnesses.
And our audiences know that, hey, anyone can hold us to what we say. We can hold us to what we say.
Stomach
Man.
sake, for the stomach sake.
And for sure. Look, that was a real good conversation, and sometimes it's good to have a good long form conversation because you can touch on so many different things, hear everybody's opinion or what have you, or perspective on a different topic, and you do it in a good way, in a good family setting, in a way where no one is trying to drown out anyone else, but we just listening and we engage everybody else from the audience as well. So guys in the audience, thank Carla and Kathy for stopping by and spending this afternoon with us here in the living room. So guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good chat, fellas.
That was great. Yeah.
Wow.
I enjoyed it.
Actually, that made me kind of excited about the Republic now. It's just
Well,
having that
there's an energy.
conversation. Yeah. That was good vibes.
But that's why you gotta have conversation
Indeed.
Yeah.
and forums to engage. And I don't necessarily mean it all had to be, because that was digital, right? It don't necessarily have to be all in the same room having a chat and speaking, but digital. But it's the types of forums that you create for engagement that people will feel engaged. And you're right. Even in that, you feel a bit more excited now, having talked through it with like-minded Bajans who have reservations, yes, but who just as excited, who is for it, but who can critique it, but know that the future and is ours, the destiny is ours to hold and take charge of it. So I think that's good.
I think so. And I think this week we'll see a change in people's mood as well. I think we will always have this tension around how we feel about the how. Okay? But I think broadly speaking, most people believe in the project and we'll go with it. The how we will discuss that to death, and we probably will disagree and agree on various aspects of it. But overall, we're gonna go with it. And we're gonna give it the best because that's what we do as Bajans. We will give it the best we can.
100% agree. I mean, I always say that I know I would bet at least 75% of people agree with this. I would almost go with it may be in the 80s, but I would say at least 75% of people would be for it. Again, the how is always the debate, and debating the how doesn't mean that you're against it. That's the other thing that I hope has come out loud and clear throughout all the online debates and what have you over the last few weeks, you know?
Yeah, it's been beautiful, man. Beautiful.
It's been good. Really, really, really good conversation. I had a good fun. So guys in the audience, look, thank you guys so much for being with us. As usual, we ask you to subscribe to us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you are. Look for We Global, Global West Indians Global. Find us there, as well as hit share. Tag some friends in this and let them come into the conversation as well. Don't let the conversation die here with this live stream. Bring in as many as your network as can be to be part of the conversation, and they can watch it back. And, you know, yes, have a few laughs, but then also hear some of the more serious conversation that we have as we go into this next phase of the Barbadian story, which is going to be an exciting phase. I think it will be. So by the time we do this, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, by the time we do the show next week, Barbados will be a republic. So in a completely new era.
Yeah, man.
You're going to say?
I feel I want to go to This Is Home again.
You want to go? well, that is what we should do. We should go to This Is Home. But look, everyone across the region, thank you so much for being with us. Until next time.
God.
Trees made these memories as sea touched the sky. Pictures tell stories. Hello, goodbye. As we watch from a distance, we will laugh and we'll cry. Through pride and disappointment, we'll never deny. This is home, this is home, this is home. This land and its people is the place we call home. This is home, this is home, this is home. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home. Yeah. Changing scenes, changing time. Eyes face the future, glancing behind. And pride set in frames, images inspired to live and to breathe the dreams we desire. This is home, this is home, this is home. This land and its people is the place we call home. This is home, this is home, this is home. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home. This is 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 home. As we watch from a distance, we laugh, we cry. Pictures tell stories of the place we call home.